modularity or something like that. But
Yeah,
like
yeah.
consoles don't really have stuff like that, or like the wireless adapter to the Game Boy Advance. Like that is so fun. You just attach it, and it felt so futuristic. You know, and again, it's like everything's already kind of like established. So like the next big jump is like, oh, you can like share your screen or something. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly.
You
No,
can
I
stream. You can tweet from the Nintendo Switch.
yeah. Like I remember the PSP had this one attachment to it that I
Mhm.
don't know why. Like, it was actually pointless. I bought it in like a pack of like 20 attachments, but it had this one where
Sick.
it was like an overhead screen that would like enlarge it essentially.
Wow.
It kind of like was like a lens. And I was like, this is
Yeah,
pointless. I'm never gonna like be out in the wild with this, but this is kind of a wild accessory to have.
but that's like the fun of it, right? It's the I don't know if like false promise is the thing, but like I don't know. The Wii had like these wacky attachments where it was like you put like a tennis racket component over your um, Wii remote. It doesn't do anything other than simulate you're playing tennis for like
Yeah,
Wii
yeah.
Sports, right? But it's like it added something, but it does nothing.
Yeah,
It's
just
just
like
like
an
this
extra feel
weird
to it.
simulation. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Or like the gun. I'm pretty sure I have it laying around somewhere. Like you could put your like nunchuck into it as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. Again, it's just like I don't know. I like the weird side of it, and I feel like all of that's been kind of streamlined out, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's been focus grouped out.
Yeah,
But anyway, so we're
but
live. We're live.
sweet.
Thank you for everyone coming on stream. Thank you, Ryker, for taking the time to make this happen.
Of course, happy to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you. But
I'll
yeah,
be
as I was
taking questions. No, I'm kidding.
maybe if there's some in chat, yeah, we'll see. Um,
I'm down.
But yeah, as we were talking off stream, your art kind of centers around nostalgia for a lot of early gaming, early 2000s, and even going before that. Um, was it like how did you stumble upon like having so much enjoyment for these games? You're like, oh, I want to actually like put pen to paper. I want to like make something with them. I want to make some kind of a piece or paint or what have you.
Um, I guess I have to go all the way back to like the beginning. In art school, I was in my last year, so I was a senior, and I was doing largely like abstract painting. That's how I started painting, which is super funny to think about now. But it's like, my not my mentor at the time, but kind of like advisor or whatever was kind of pushing me
Mm.
towards abstract collage work, and I was like, no, like I'm here to do paintings, and I was kind of really um, disheartened with that direction. And as a joke, well, not even as a joke, but like I was sitting in my studio with my friends, and like my friend had put up like a sketch of like a Spartan that he did, and I was like, oh shit, like that should be what I should do. Like, wouldn't that be so funny to spend the next year just painting video games and like force people to talk about it in like a critical way? You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it's like, oh man, because I was just so bummed out, because I was like, oh, I really want to do painting, but my mentor was just driving me crazy. So as a joke, I landed on gaming, and I was like, oh well, like I could take this deadly serious because I do anyways. Like I go to, video game tournaments, and I practice and I train, and I'm just gonna apply that same like learning method to painting, and uh I guess 4 years later here I am.
Right on. I didn't realize that you were actually like a trained artist. I figured it came from
Oh yeah.
like just kind of like an amateur appreciation of it. Where did you go to school, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh yeah, I went to PNCA, Pacific Northwest College of the Arts, up in Portland, Oregon. Was a good time. Was a good time. Met a lot of really awesome people that I'm still extremely, extremely close to and inspired by to this day. Uh, they might even be lurking in the chat now. I don't know.
Maybe, maybe. That's funny though how you kind of took that that frustration with like the expectations of an artist and what you should paint and just completely flipped it on its script. Is there a lot of that in art school? Do you feel like there is, as much like room that they leave for open creativity, that there is still like a little bit of like a push for people to adhere to certain styles or like to work with certain things?
That's a good question. I am probably an exception to that rule. I feel like a lot of people, and me, thankfully, like, that was kind of like an advisor before my senior thesis, and my
Mm,
mentor, Rachel Wolf, was incredible. She was like, absolutely, like, this is what you should be doing. Um, she supported me 100% of the way through, and I produced a really awesome thesis thanks to her. Um, so in that instance, it was more just like me probably overthinking what someone was saying to me
okay.
and responding to it how I naturally would. But I feel like the current meta, so to speak, is like, concept and then the piece. You write about it, you tell someone why you should, justify it existing, and then you make it. At least that was my experience. Um, which I didn't really, like I'm still um like unlearning that process, so to speak.
Mm,
I think it's kind of like the artifacts of like the conceptual art movement and, you know, even more so like the abstract art movement and, you know, I
postmodernism and all
think
that.
yeah, 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 yeah. And it's I understand and appreciate all that stuff. Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I started as an abstract painter for God's sakes. Um I've taken tons and tons of art history classes and I respect tons of those artists. But it's I think, if it's been meta for so long, and I'm talking like video game meta game,
Hmm.
um, there has to be a point where you break free from that. And I think it in my experience it like was concrete in a lot of ways where it was like, no, this is what you should do, and then it should be this, and it should be this. I'm like, nah, I don't know. Because I wasn't really connecting to a lot of contemporary art and artists in that way. I was like, I'm not. I started to feel like seen making the stuff that I was doing, whereas before, like my abstract work, it was just like, oh, I'm kind of fitting into like these massive, um, like footprints left behind by gargantuan artists, and it's like I don't want to be in the ocean of other abstract artists, just like clawing to try to get to something that has been achieved, like 60 years ago. Like I
Hmm.
don't want to do that.
Right on. I mean, that
No.
is the artist credo, right? It's like, why would you bother wasting time unless you want to be a really good forger, working
Yeah.
on things that have already been done, when, chances are it's not even true to what you actually want out of the experience. Not just the piece itself, but like all the work and effort that goes into making it.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know. You don't want to like condition yourself to like certain things just because it's like you see it in museums. You want to like make your own taste and share that with the world. At least that's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, right? I mean, like I've experienced this one, like when I was in university. I was working on, writing anything, and I would find myself stumbling upon either topics or ideas that I had already pre-read, and I just feel like the biggest idiot. I'd be like, oh my god, I can't, like, how could I rewrite this? Like, this has already been said. I need a completely
Right.
like original idea. I can't just, go through the motions and just like keep adopting
Yeah.
this. I need to actually think for myself. Otherwise, I'm just repeating what's been said time and time again.
Yeah. And I think, you hearken to originality, and I think originality is just like choosing interesting things to reference and pull from and making it relevant to a contemporary audience more so than like thing completely out of the void, because that just I don't. It's been said 10 million times, but that just doesn't happen.
Right on. And in terms of the medium that you work with, is it just mostly oil based paints or?
Yeah, so I am primarily oil paint and gouache, which is like a similar thing to like watercolor and acrylic, but it's an opaque paint, so it's really fun to layer and um, has a matte finish to it, so there's no like glossiness to it. That's kind of what I do my studies in, and so there's some finished pieces that I do in that, but primarily oil paint.
Mhm. And in terms of like the composition of your paintings, I've noticed that it has like a bit of an impressionist feel to it because the figures aren't like exact. There's not like a lot of
Right.
straight edges and lines and whatnot. The colors kind of blend into each other. Was that a like a purposeful choice, or is it just because that's so much easier? And why bother replicating like computer graphics when like getting the detail is almost impossible?
Yeah. So again, it kind of spawned out of the abstract history that I have, or I really love the work of like Frank Auerbach, where it's really dense paint, very expressionist, very um, there's lots of impasto with the oil paint, meaning it has a three-dimensional quality to it.
Hmm.
Um, and again, it's just like these are all the artists I was drawn to initially. So I absorbed all those techniques as much as I can, and you know, vintage 3D graphics and those rendering systems have like a lower polygon count. More often than not, they are abstracted because they didn't have a lot to work with. So it's an inherently abstract um, medium from that time period. So applying, the expressionist and loose mark making to vintage 3D modeling just seemed like a perfect fit. And more often than not, I like um, just the look of it. It's chunky, it's fun, it's kind of lighthearted. Like if I rendered out the things too much and really went with kind of like a classical atelier style, it would kind of be boring. I was never really into hyper realism or true to life painting. Like I've done it, I don't really like it. I like what I like. So yeah,
Fair
and I
enough.
think
That's
I think
yeah.
too. Sorry,
No, no,
I
you're
think
good.
too at the same time it gives games to be seen in a different way than they would be. Like you can directly replicate something, but you can also capture the essence of what it feels like to play a game all night within a landscape,
Hmm.
or you know something like that.
Yeah, no, as you were describing it, it just like it reminded me of like the old Lara Croft Tomb Raider
Mhm.
game because like that's like one of the easiest examples that people always come up with, just how like
For sure.
she looks like three polygons in a dress, basically.
Yeah, but it still communicates who she is, and you understand you know who she is as a character perfectly just by what they're able to achieve with such limited technology,
Hmm.
and that's inherently connected to abstraction, like objectively.
Yeah.
So that was a fun connection to make in my head. I was like, oh dang, I can play with that.
Yeah, you could probably even like make some pieces of like the old Doom game or
Mhm.
I didn't grow up on this one, but I grew up playing Duke Nukem, which is definitely
Of
not a
course.
game that you should give a child, but
Too late.
parents, yeah, cat's out of the bag on that one. My parents
Oh yeah.
did not realize. Um, but yeah, those games were legendary because I remember like just it you could tell that it was like 2D obviously, but there were just
Right.
moments where your perspective would shift as you're moving around or whatever, and it was suddenly like made 3D. I just remember seeing that. I was like, "Holy shit, this is awesome!" Because everything else up until
Yeah.
then I'd play was just like 2D side scrollers like Mario or what have you.
Right. I know when you look up and down for the first time. I mean, it looks insane now because it like literally bends the screen. It's not a true 3D, but like
Hmm.
at the time, I was like, holy shit, What?
Yeah, it was world breaking.
That's
It was
that's
insane.
unbelievable.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love that.
games have come a long way. I mean, recently, like I feel like there's been so much emphasis placed on um getting that not even triple A, but now it's like called quadruple A, which like whatever the
Yeah,
hell that means. Um, but they're like getting like all the crisp graphics and whatnot, and it's just I find a lot of people are they're not as into it as the studios thought it would be, and the games that are like taking a more unconventional route with how they display their graphics or whatever medium they use,
yeah,
whatever engine they use, are actually getting a lot more attention because people are
right.
like they're seeking that variety. They want some more of that, not old school feel, but just something different because now everything is like has to be streamed in 4K. Got to have like the best shaders, best everything. And next thing you know, it's taking up
No,
like
no,
200
no.
gigs.
I don't ever wanna see that. I don't ever wanna see that quality. I mean, like, you mentioned that, like, maybe gamers don't actually wanna see that. I think the consensus on, like, online is, like, they love it. It's weird, like, people love that, like, visual, like, candy,
Hmm.
they soak it up, and I joke with one of my friends, I'm like, "I just wanna feel like I'm playing a video game." I don't wanna
Yeah,
open
not
up a
yeah.
game and, like, see a store menu and have to, like, sign all these agreements. Like, you fire up any old game, you just hit start and you're there. Like, how absurd is it that games don't really do that? And I don't wanna
Yeah,
be,
no.
like, too reminiscent on that, but, like, if you play, say, Battlefield 3 or Mirror's Edge, that's as good as the game should look. Or,
Hmm.
like, Half-Life 2, like, very few games look better than Half-Life 2. I don't know. I don't know. New games are just so yeah, they're so dense and there's so much going on. And don't get me wrong, like I love the look of like Doom 2016 or whatever, but like how much more do we need? You know?
Yeah, it feels too like hyper realistic at times, but
Yeah.
more to your point about like all the weird add-ons that have been made. Like I remember my friend and I we play Fortnite every now and then. He plays it more than I do, so he's more familiar. But like I get into it as someone who like grew up on Counter Strike and whatnot. I'm expecting like a simple menu. There's all these like drop downs and all these things, and then
Yeah.
notifications every time you get a kill. It's just like, dude, I
It's too
just
much. It
yeah,
is too much.
too much.
I like the simpler side of it, and I don't know. I mean, like, hey, I can get down with some Fortnite. Fortnite, don't you doubt that for 1 second. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Just something about it. Yeah, no, no. The old games certainly have a lot of charm to them. Um, but just out of curiosity, like growing up, was it only until like you got into university that you started playing around like painting this stuff, or like did you like ever like as a child like I don't know do some drawings or sketches or what have you? Like was it ever a thing
Oh,
for
for
you?
sure. Oh, for sure. I mean, like, I kind of joked about it um, with some friends where I was like, oh, like I learned how to draw by like drawing Master Chief or something like that, or
Mm-hmm.
the grunts from Halo, or Pokemon. Like, I mean, who here among us hasn't tried to paint or draw a Pokemon in their lifetime? But yeah, I mean, drawing was like a huge part of my life. I went to like charter schools growing up, so art and drawing and like sewing and cooking was like a part of like my daily curriculum. And when I got to high school, it was like a normal high school, so there wasn't really any art. Um, and I was missing that. And my good friend at the time, Caleb, was like getting into drawing, and I was like, oh shit, like I used to do that all the time. So we would draw together, and that's how I kind of was led back to art, which is really cool.
Right on. Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Like, who hasn't, who among us hasn't like taken out a piece of tracing paper and just been like, oh hell yeah, I'm so good at
Yeah.
sketching it out perfectly and like shading it in. And different colors. Felt like
Yeah,
cheating, but honestly, I didn't even care. The product is all that mattered to me. I was like, this is good. This is a good
yeah,
representation. I like it.
yeah. It's just fun. I mean, yeah, it's super fun.
Right on. Um, Now you mentioned that growing up you had gone to tournaments and whatnot because I knew like going into this
Yes,
that obviously gaming it can't just be like a simple like creative medium like for someone that has
right.
played throughout all these genres like you mentioned like Half-Life 2 and then all these like other console games so I'd assume you're fairly prolific in that. Um, what was the
Oh yeah.
what was the tournament scene for you growing up? What kind of stuff did you get into?
So I go all the way back playing Pokemon Black 2 and White 2 at lunch in like middle school and losing and being like, I would never want to feel this again. How do I make a perfect team? And I would discover, I discovered like the IVs, EVs, getting the specific Pokemon you want, getting the natures, perfect move sets, learning about entry hazards. Like I went insane with it. And then we got to high school, Pokemon X and Y, I would play online, played Pokemon Showdown. I got like crazy, crazy into it. And then yeah, it was hatching eggs all day long, like at school, leaving my 3DS open all day, rolling around Lumio City, hatching eggs, getting the perfect Pokemon, and then, my friend Dallas in high school, he was like, "Hey, like the new Smash Bros. Game is coming out," and I'm like, "Oh, like I haven't played Smash in a long time. I'm really good with Luigi in Melee," and he's like, "Oh, like who?" Well, he asked me like, "Who's my main?" And I'm like, "What do you mean main? Like, what is that?" He's like, "You don't know what that is?" And he put me on to the Super Smash Bros. Melee documentary, which like
Hmm.
flipped everything in my life. It was like, oh shit. Like I have to get into this. So I started, I dug out my GameCube, started grinding, wave dashing and L canceling and I don't know if any of this means anything to you, but like,
Yeah.
you know, I was like, okay, Captain Falcon, like I gotta hit the knee as hard as I can. And, we would host tournaments at school because they had those rolly carts with like the CRT TVs on it.
Oh
And
yeah.
like,
Oh
oh
yeah.
yeah, we could just bring setups and play here. So we would like play at lunchtime. And then I think he would host tournaments in his garage, and that's how I met my good friend Joel. Um, like these are all people that I still talk to every day too, which is crazy. Um, and then Smash 4 came out, and we would go to tournaments for that. Um, and it was real, just like pedal to the metal training. Pick a top tier, get good with them. We'd have our 3DSs at lunch. Fighting every day. It was super sick. And like I would go to this joint called Lan Diego because I lived in San Diego, and that's where like everybody good was, and like I would get completely crushed every time. My mom would be like, "Why do you keep going to these things?" Like you'd come back so heartbroken, and but I would learn like bits and pieces here and there, like like oh Fox can like full hop auto cancel his dare, and Shiki got to do forward throw bouncing fish to get guaranteed percent combo setups, whatever. Um, but I would take all that and just absorb it and slowly get better and, you know, turn that into college. And I'm hosting tournaments at school for Smash Ultimate and leaving early on Fridays to go to um, this barcade that would host tournaments. Like I was diehard at this stuff, and like
Hmm.
again, that's how I met new friends. That's how I build community. That's how I found like an identity in Portland because like I didn't really have I didn't know anyone up there. I just moved up there for school, and it's how I grew and met new people, and it was special. You know,
Right on. Yeah, because I
yeah,
I was never really into the Smash community. I'd play it like every now and then when I'm with my friends, but I do know
yeah,
for a fact that like it's a really big community that doesn't really like they don't make it onto like mainstream news or anything, but there's a lot of people and a lot of passion
yeah,
for these games. The old Smash especially.
yeah. Melee, yeah. Like I still play it. time to time, fire it up. Got the fox coming out.
Hell yeah. I'm
Hitting
uh
the
I
wave shine.
I'm a Kirby main, but only because
Damn,
I don't I know it's awful. Every time I tell people, like, they always have the same reaction.
that's so funny.
He's simple, and I love just like down smashing on people. It's just
Of course.
it's a lot of fun. But I always get my ass whooped. I had a friend who he didn't have internet growing up. Lived in a small town, but he did have a GameCube setup, so he'd always train against the bots, and eventually, obviously, like, uh, there's only so much you can do with a
Right.
bot, but he would like go to like the top level and still be able to beat them. So like when he asked me like, "Oh, do you play Smash?" I'm like, "Ah, like I've played occasionally. Like by all means, I
Yeah.
always get my ass whooped, no problem." Because this guy's just playing like AI nonstop. Like
Right.
he doesn't have any other outlets. So here I come, this newbie, and
Right.
he just fucking blows me out the water.
That's so funny.
Right on.
Dang. Yeah. I mean, like for me, like ultimately, what um, the tournaments gave me was like an ability to understand myself and how I learn, and like how to motivate myself to like keep picking myself up to show up again and again and again. Because like as much as I would play these games, I wouldn't, I'd go 0-2 every time. I wouldn't win anything,
Hmm.
but I would have fun. But then there is the day where you do win a game versus someone. You're like, oh my god, I'm
There's no better
back.
feeling. Yeah, there's no better
No,
feeling.
it's the best feeling in the world.
Now that you mention that,
So
I'm surprised that well, the only piece that at least I see on your site for Smash is the Captain Falcon. I would have expected some more Smash characters or like stages and whatnot, unless you have like older works that are just not featured here.
I don't know why I haven't painted more of it. It is such a big part of my life. I'm kind of on pause with it at the moment, but it is for me. It's like I am so about it, but it has to be something that's like that it's right in front of me, immediately inspiring me to like want to do a painting of it. You know what I mean?
Hmm. No, I get what you mean. Like every now and then, I'll have an idea for like a project or something that I want to build or
Mhm.
make, and then I know for a fact that if I don't give it time right now, if I don't give it like at least a little bit of dedication, then that idea is just gonna like flitter away. Even if I write it down and I come back to it, it's the mindset is not the same.
No, it's always different.
The situation's not the same. I don't really have the same like a feeling for it, and then
Yeah,
that idea might as well just be dead to me. And then I look at like
you
my
got to
list
act
of
on it
yeah,
as
and
fast as possible.
I see my list of ideas and I'm like, man, that would have been cool if I had made it. Fuck, like, all right, lesson learned. Next
Yeah,
time I actually gotta, take the time to do it right then and there.
there's that, and then there's writing it down and then finding it like years later, and you're like, oh man, like now's the time for that, and you bust it out again, and you're like, it's go time.
Hmm.
I've had that happen before, where like I did a sketch of it was one drawing, four individual screens, like a split screen
Hmm.
Halo, and it was from like 2020 or 2021, and then I think 2 years or 3 years later, I like did a split screen painting, and it was like what set me off online. It was like nuclear. I was a nobody, and now people know of me online now because
Hmm.
of that painting. And I'm like, damn, if I did that like 2 years ago, it probably wouldn't have been the right time. You know,
Yeah, funny how that works out.
it's
Um,
crazy.
but now that you mention it, how is it that you get the ideas for like what game you want to cover or whatever? Is it just like you're in the middle of like playing it and you're like, oh, this is like a scenic moment or like a memory that you have? Like what's your process usually?
A lot of it is like, just as an example, I'm doing this Fallout New Vegas locations series, and it's just you know reflecting on the tradition of painting, like Western painting, and reflecting on the beautiful locations of New Vegas and just smashing them together. Like I have an emotional connection to New Vegas. I have a lot of good memories playing that game, and it's still a
Hmm.
game that I play now. but there's also a connection to art history that I can make. So I just smash them together and make that happen. And you know, in the instance of like Super Smash Bros, like it'll be me and my friend. We'll play a match, and I'll go back and watch theater mode and position the camera and find like a spot where it's our two characters. So there's an immediate connection there, me and my friend, right? And it's
Mm.
our avatars within the game, composed and preserved in oil painting. So there's a lot of different ways that I kind of like go about it, and then other times it's like I did a painting of it's sitting right there, but it's the game fuel Mountain Dew can, like just as a still life. It's funny inherently. So I like at the same time, I love a deeper emotional investment in my paintings. But I think also what really, really, really matters to me is that sense of humor. Like I did two paintings of like the um, homebrew channel from the Nintendo Wii,
Oh
which
yeah.
lets you mod, and you already know. But I also did a separate painting where it was like desktop with Dolphin emulator and Vim's layer running. It's like we're downloading games, we're playing them. You know, but again, like that's funny, but it's also like that was my life in high school, like downloading games and playing on my computer. So I don't know.
Interesting. So when it happens basically.
Yeah, and sometimes I get really good ideas that no one understands, and that's fine. But I just keep making them.
Yeah, yeah.
You just gotta
I
keep doing it.
I get it. It's like an itch you got to scratch.
Yeah. And sometimes, like you mentioned, like is it just playing games and I see something? Like yeah, sometimes I'll be like in a firefight and have to duck under cover and record the last 30 seconds because I saw something cool. So like a lot of the times, like me playing games is like scouting for reference material. Like if
Mhm.
we're fighting in a 1v1, you bet your ass I'm clipping that shit and painting it.
Save that for later.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, there's no bad ideas in my head. I always go and try it and try to have confidence in something new that I try.
Right on. Yeah, I now that you mentioned the Mountain Dew can, there's actually an artist trying to see if I can find them.
I think I
Um
know who you're gonna pull up.
he takes still life of like I don't know, like a peanut butter jelly sandwich or whatever, and he paints it using
I know
oil
of him. I don't
paints.
know. I don't know his name, but I know of him.
Found him. Yeah, here it is. Noah Verrier.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, I love his pieces because it's as you said, it's
Yeah,
just capturing something that seems kind of silly, but in a very like
yeah.
artistic way, where like it actually
Right,
looks really really good.
right. Yeah, and it's funny. It's just being lighthearted, and if you understand it, the wink is there, and if you don't, my skills as an artist will draw you in and keep you around. That's how I see it.
Yeah, because like I don't know. I guess like the cynical art critic can make like the claim that oh like this is like a really simple idea or there isn't like any thought to it. But like besides just looking at something and being like, oh that's cool. Like
Yeah,
is there any more justification that's really needed? And also like who I mean, from what I understand, like, at least like from what Rick Rubin has said in terms of like creating art, it's like the moment that you start considering the audience and how they're going to react to it as like an integral piece of your work
mhm,
is the moment that your creative spirit dies because then you're no longer making it for yourself, you're no longer doing it for the
right.
joy of it. Now you're making it as like a commodity.
Mm. Yeah, I can see that as a perspective. Um, yeah, I get that. I get that. I think in the instance of like a critic not understanding it, I think we have a whole history of you know art critique and verbiage that you can apply to painting that you have no reason not to. um, make that fit what I'm doing. So
Hmm.
I mean, if you can talk thoroughly about abstract painting where there's no subject matter, I promise you can talk about a video game.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, I mean, like, look, if that guy that stacked those like 10 buckets of sand and let them fall is like a performance piece, if that's art, then like, come on, like, let's be real here.
Oh, I'm never against pieces like that. I mean, I think there's merit to it, whether or not it's for me. It's not for me to say whether it can exist as art. I mean, Marcel Duchamp is one of my favorite artists of all time, and he pioneered a lot of that stuff. So you know, more power to them. If artists can achieve something, you know, vital and valuable to other people through non-traditional means and mediums, I think that's awesome. I mean, I'm doing it with video games. Why can't they do it with a banana?
Yeah, yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, like that.
Yeah,
I think I know the piece that you're referencing where the guy like took a banana and duct taped it to a
yeah,
wall. Which apparently, from what I remember, it was very weird how they went about selling the piece because the thing is,
mhm,
like, that banana is gonna go rotten eventually.
uh-huh.
So like, how do you, like, what is the actual thing that you're buying? And from my
You're buying the
understanding,
idea.
exactly, yeah, it was you're buying the idea of it, and you can um not recreate it,
It's
but like
nothing new.
they
It's
like they
nothing new. We've been doing it for
yeah.
years.
Yeah, they made it so that like you could like replace the banana. I don't know. I don't remember the contract, but
Yeah,
yeah, some like Bitcoin billionaire bought it, and when he did buy it, when he went to the auction, he like took out the banana and ate it on stage, which I thought was
yeah.
interesting.
It's not about the banana. It's about the publicity, the idea, the rage that ensued. I think it's I think it's a what do I want to say here? A side effect of a misinformed audience as well. I definitely think we can nurture like art appreciation universally. You know, it doesn't have to be like Roman busts and historical paintings. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
way more cool shit out there.
yeah. I mean, there's certainly something to be said about the classics, but I mean, you can only
Yeah,
linger on that for so long until it's like, okay, this is kind of an
yeah,
overplayed theme. We need something new.
yeah. If you couldn't tell, I'm highly opinionated on art.
As he should be, as an
Yeah.
artist. Yeah, no, as absolutely as he should be. Yeah. No, I get what you mean. About the that there can be merit in some of those pieces. For me
Yeah,
though, I don't know. Maybe it is just because I don't get it. But some of the other wacky performance pieces, I just look at it and it's so hard for me to connect with it on any level. Like there was one piece that I
right.
saw where this guy had built like a star-shaped enclosure made out of like some kind of sheet metal so that he could fill it with water. So he had like
Mhm.
six um like troughs, I guess, going through, and then he filled it up with water, put a canoe inside of it, or a kayak rather, and was the whole piece was like him paddling in between it, and it looks like the worst parking job ever because he has to like
Oh,
go
well,
out of one trough and then go into it. Like the whole thing was just hectic as hell. I
yeah.
see that and I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't really have anything that I could connect with there.
Yeah, there are some pieces I haven't seen the piece you're talking about, but there are some, performance works and installations and happenings where it's like, okay, like I've been to a few where I'm like, I can't get out of here fast enough
Yeah,
because I don't. It's not for me. It's too wacky for me.
yeah. I
Or
yeah.
sometimes like maybe the writing isn't good about it. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I
I've seen
think
that sentiment shared where like people say, if I have to read 3 paragraphs to understand this, I don't really. It's not the effort for it. It's not worth it if I don't see it
mm,
immediately.
mm. Well, then that calls upon like the passive viewer, and that's its whole other thing.
Yeah.
But again, there's people that like the intellectual side of you know stuff like that. And I talked about that earlier, where it's like in school, a lot of the times it was concept driven, and you had to write and
Mm-hmm.
you know justify its existence. I'm like, I don't know, I don't want to do that. I'm very good at it, mind you, but
Oh, you have to be, right? You got to get that
yeah,
grade.
yeah, and you have to. I already mentioned this, but you have to be meta relevant. You can't be the bottom tier that is just doing plein air shit, expecting to be a contemporary artist. Um, and that's not any shade to plein air artists. Don't get me wrong, but like my goal is to be a contemporary gallery showing artist. So what combos do I have to learn to achieve that? You know,
Mm-hmm. Are
and
you
that's part of it.
are you working on getting your stuff put up in a gallery?
It's happening in 4 days.
Oh, right on. Whereabouts?
That one's gonna be up in Vancouver, British Columbia. I was chosen. The person that's putting it together reached out to me via email. And I'm like up at 1 a.m. I'm like, oh, what's this? Maybe another bot message, but no, like they had like the credentials, like, hey, I'm getting my master's in curatorial studies. I'm putting on a show. We want you there, and I'm like, all right, what do I got to do? I'll box them up and ship them to you.
Right on.
So it just, I'm happy that they found me.
Yeah, congrats. That's awesome. Is that going to be your first gallery showing?
The first, yeah, I guess that will be my first showing. I'm sad I won't be there, but I'm happy to be a part of it. I shipped up, I think, 14 paintings to be a part of it,
Oh
and then
wow.
it's kind of crazy. Like in May next month, I'm gonna be a part. I'm gonna have my own like installation of like my Fallout pieces here, so I'll be able to actually go to it. And then I think in June or July, there's another show that I'm still like ironing out. But it's funny. Like you reached out to me, and then the other person, like I was shipping paintings to them, and then another thing, and then another thing, like all at once. It was just like, damn, I'm tired, but I gotta get to work.
Right on. Good
you know,
timing. That's
it
awesome.
it felt like it all felt like you know this is what it was all leading to.
That's wicked. Yeah, very serendipitous all that timing.
Yeah, and it's always been like that, where it's like nothing, 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 and then something. Nothing, 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 and then major thing, and then major thing. But at no point am I like not painting. You know what I mean? Like if I ever stop, then I'm like, I feel like the universe will stop things for me, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
any sense. Because like I'll be doing, just as like an anecdote, or whatever. Like I'll be painting stuff that is like for me, and then have like a commission that's sitting there that I need to be working on,
Mm-hmm.
and then like I won't like no one will reach out for me for commissions for like months, and I'm like, damn, like I need to just finish that commission. Like the universe is like, hey, get on this, man. It's
Yeah,
go
yeah.
time. But yeah,
Nice. That's
it's all
awesome,
coming
man.
together.
I'm really glad to hear it. I hope the exhibition go well, and I hope that
Me too.
you get more exposure from it and get more commissions and all that. Keep yourself busy for a while.
Yeah, more exposure, and more people that connect to it, because that's what I do it for. I love when people message me like, "Hey, oh man, like I used to play this game with my brother, you know, way back in the day," or people send me art that they do of like video games that they play, and I'm like, man, like that's the coolest thing ever. Or they're like, oh, I got into drawing. Like, do you have tips? I'm like, yeah, I got tips. Come on, what do you need to know?
Nice. That's awesome. Have
So
you ever
that's what
thought? Yeah.
that's what I love.
Have you ever thought of going to like any like game expos or cons or anything like that to showcase your stuff? Because I know they usually have
I've
like
already
booths
done
for
it.
creators.
I've already done it. I did it last year at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo with my friend Connor, who was my studio mate in college. We shared a studio space, and my friend Emil was also oh, sharing that space. I think the battery died on that light. Um, got dark Ryker now. Um, we did. He had it was like a installation slash game store slash painting
Hmm.
expo thing. So like, I had my paintings, he had retro games, and it was just like this wacky installation thing, which was super fun. Excuse me. But
Nice, that's awesome.
it was weird because people would like come up and be like, "Oh, like I think I know this guy on Twitter," and I'm like, "That's me." Like I'd be sitting there and they come up and they're like, "Whoa, I've seen these paintings online. I didn't know he was here," and I'm like, "I'm right here."
Hell yeah.
So it was just a trip, people, and I met like my friend Logan, who we'd been friends online thanks to like the gaming thing, and we finally got to meet in person, and now we're even tighter. So yeah, like I want to do more of that. Maybe go to like a Smash tournament or something, and um, set up a booth there, like a major or something. But want to do more of that for sure because it is like giving back to um, like what gaming has provided for me and being on the other side of the booth. Like I'd go and meet artists that I really love and um, be like, oh, like that's really cool that you do that full time. And I guess like I didn't realize until I was doing it. I was like, oh wait, like I'm doing this full time.
Yeah. Sneaks up on you.
Yeah, it definitely is. Like at no point is it like major celebration. It's just like you go, you go, you go, and then you look back and you're like, oh well, like yeah, I've been doing that. That's cool.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like when things like that happen, it's like the closest thing that you can get to fate or like the stars aligning because you realize that
Yeah.
none of it was none of it was forced. Like sure there was like effort put into it, but
Oh yeah.
it just came from like your feelings and then you expressing those feelings through, whatever work that you're doing and then it just kind of
Yeah.
comes to life. Like a year ago I wasn't doing anything like this. I was not interviewing anybody. Didn't even have like a presence online or anything. Then like I just kept posting on Twitter, and then
Yeah.
luckily the head of Outsider Supply, the company I work for, reached out and they're like, "Hey, you want to do some stuff for us?" And here we are. And
Perfect.
it was like purely off vibes. It wasn't as if like I applied for the job or anything. They just liked what I wrote, and I was like, "Hell yeah, I'll do
Yeah.
this."
Yeah. I think that's been the cool thing about, being like an online artist or whatever is like people just find you and they're like, "Hey, we have like we're a small band. We have this budget, like can you do like an album cover for us?" I'm like, "Hell yeah. Absolutely." Or, commissions or whatever. People find you and I think there was like being like an online artist was like a seen as like a certain way.
Hmm.
Um and I don't entirely agree with that. Like I think it's cool. It's cool to be an online artist because you're just kind of like, at least to me, I'm kind of like a ghost in the system that is connected to so many different people, but it's still me across all those avenues. Like, um, I'm in like a few like group chats with artists, and I'm part of like this. I don't know why or how, but like these this gang of like indie developers are all together making incredible games, and I was added to that Discord, and I'm like able to meet and interact with these really talented game developers, and they all love what I do, and I love what they do. So it's really sick.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Glad
Yeah.
to hear it.
And like I said, like I'll meet people online, and then we'll chat like every day and bounce ideas off each other and develop cool stuff. Like it's crazy. I couldn't have planned for any of that because it's all, I don't know, out of my hands. But like
Hmm.
people find you somehow.
Yeah. Do you think you would ever try your hand at game design? Because like it's so much easier to do nowadays than it has ever been before.
Yeah, I mean, just last year I like sort of tried my hand at making a modded map for Halo Combat Evolved.
Hmm.
So my friend Roy like helped pilot me through learning Blender and like troubleshooting stuff. Like he helped me a ton, but like I know Blender now. I have the experience of like texturing, mapping, you know, placing spawn points,
Hmm.
learning how to make a full map start to finish, and that was like on a small scale, you know. Um, and that was like an art piece that I did where it was custom map with my paintings inside the map, so you can like go play Slayer on it and have my paintings around you. Because I was like, oh, like that'd be a fun game, but I don't have any game making experience, so I need to just mod a map and make that. So I'm like 1% of the way there, but I'm still kind of like fleshing out ideas for what I want to do. Because like I think making a game would be super sick, but it's like I still work a day job and I have to maintain like this art career.
Yeah, it's a lot to juggle.
Shoveling on something else is like, if I get to a point where I can do it, I want to do it all the way.
Hmm. I get that. Yeah, because
Yeah.
as I was looking at your paintings, I was like, man, like an interesting game idea would be like if you could have like your style with how you paint, but it was like the what's called like Mario 64 where
Damn.
you enter the paintings and then like
Right.
that's what essentially like the world would look like. So you have like a level for Halo or like a Halo clone, but it's
Yeah.
all like all the visuals are done in that style because there's been a couple of games indie mostly that have come out with just really unique visual elements that like go away from the hyper realism towards something new. Like there was one, I forget the name. It's either out or it's gonna be out, but it's made in like the old, like the original Mickey Mouse, like Steamboat Willie style with like the
Oh,
cartoon
yeah, yeah,
gloves and
yeah.
everything. You know the one I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I saw that one. That looks cool.
Yeah, like all the animations, they're like reloading, like the perspective as well. It's that old kind of like
Yeah.
2D,
It's
but
the rubber
also
hose
3D.
animation style. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super sick. Yeah, I love stuff like that. I mean, I don't have enough time to play every game that comes out, but I just love knowing that it exists and that, people are able to go do it.
Yeah, another game that reminds me of that is how Cuphead was made because I didn't
Yeah.
know this up until recent, but all of the frames, everything was first hand drawn and then
Yeah.
scanned into the game, and they made like the animations manually like that, which is
Yeah.
like absolutely insane. Because I've seen footage of like old anime artists like showing them like how they're flipping through the pages and doing each
Right.
frame like for Akira or something just
Of
manually,
course.
and it's just insane how labor intensive that process is,
Mhm.
and very few people do it now for understandable reasons, but the
Right.
fact that they were able to do it for essentially like I would argue for like a AAA game for how well it was made
Oh, yeah.
is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I like that technique application, and I've thought about. I was inspired by like the initial ideas for texturing Team Fortress 2 where they were doing hand painted textures. I was inspired by that for my next Halo map that I want to do, where I want to hand paint all the textures and make it like, you're living within um, a painting of mine.
Hmm.
Um, so you're just kind of like dropping yourself into a painting. So that might be the next, because then like I would have a show where it'd be like you know the texture is all kind of laid out in an atlas, but it would be all across the walls, and then you'd be there to play the map itself, which would be kind of cool.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, that would make for a unique game, and I didn't realize that TF2 had hand painted textures.
It was scrapped like early on into development, but you can still kind of like find the sketches for it where it's like a wall or something, and you can see like the brush marks come out of the like framing that they were doing. And I was like, wait a minute, like I should try that. I think it was like beta tested or something like that, but
Oh yeah,
I don't know. Super cool. Super cool.
interesting.
Yeah.
What do you make of and I'm asking every artist that we interview about this because everyone has their own take on it. But what do you make
Is this
of
the AI question?
yeah, yeah. What do you make of AI art? And I realize that's like a very like vast question because you could go into like how easy it is to generate or monetary value or going
Yeah.
into like presenting it at like shows and exhibitions and whatnot.
Mm, mm.
Like what's your take on it?
What is my take on it? Formatting what I want to say because I don't want to be too controversial.
Take your time. And I mean we don't censor here, so by all
um,
means, this is
yeah,
X.
I think I don't. Okay, I think it is a tool, first and foremost, across the board. I don't think um, image generation is like a bad thing, but you have to understand that it's strictly like a reverse image search thing that compiles based on your prompt. It is
Mm,
not original generating. While it is incredibly powerful compared to what it was like a year ago, it's not like I don't think there's any like meat on the bones for something like that. Like haven't seen a single like AI image generated with the intention of being fine art that has blown me away. So it is a permanent like benchmark where like it will never, at least in my mind, until that wow factor is brought, it won't cross that. And what might be controversial is it is a new benchmark that living artists are now measured against. So your competition as an illustrator, as a painter, is that new like floor or ceiling where you have to be interesting enough or talented enough to like surpass what someone can achieve with AI. You know what I
mhm,
mean?
mhm.
Um and of course like, you know, like I said, like none of it impresses me. I mean, like sure it's cool you can like clone someone's face and make them do something funny, but like who cares? Like I don't
Fair
I don't
enough.
know. And like I'm not like stoked on it cuz like I can only see it's already happening where it's like you see like a billboard or like advertisements or
Mhm.
game developers using like AI promo images or like calling cards in games. Like it's just it's soulless and it is lame. Like I don't like it. I don't know. And I don't think the whole like, oh, like AI stole my image. It's like, yeah, no shit. Like it's trained to do that.
Mhm.
You know, it's like who you're gonna sue the fucking robot? Like get real. So now your job is to like be real and be like as good as you can be versus that because it's like you know people will like I've seen it where like people someone posts a painting and they're like, oh, like this is AI, and it's like no it's not. You can like see the paint that he laid down, like what? So I think a lot of it too is like it is making the general art viewing audience like it's like what do I want? It's like reversing like their visual like comprehension. Like it's so weird. They'll see something that's like so obviously fake and be like, "Oh, like this is real," but then the inverse where it's like The real thing is fake. So I think art will be okay for the time being, but I think there's a bigger issue with like what is defined as real online versus in real life, you know. And I don't again, like I don't think anything interesting has been made with AI yet. Sorry.
That's fair. No, that's fair. Yeah, I've thought about this before where like the all the photos that were made up until like let's say what is it 2023 basically like that's when we
Yeah, like 2
got
years ago.
yeah like up until then every photo that's ever been taken
Mhm.
is now at a premium because you know for a fact
Right.
that that photo, so long as you can prove it through the metadata or whatever, you
Yeah.
know that it's real for a fact because the models just didn't
Yeah.
exist back then and there was no way to kind of
No.
even create anything closer to it. Um,
Yeah.
and in a way, it also puts a premium on real artists because the thing is, like, with how accessible these tools are, anybody, even for free, like you can just sign up on Leonardo or
Yeah.
any of these platforms and you can make stuff for free. Like, okay, sure, but that just makes it so that the overall volume of stuff being generated, real and otherwise,
It's
it
worth less than 1,000th% of a cent or whatever. It's like
well that and it also makes
garbage.
it makes room for artists that continue to do the traditional processes because now they can say
Yeah.
like, hey, I actually make something real. So if you're tired of
Yeah.
all this
You're
AI art and whatnot, now my stuff has more value.
yes and no. Like I think at least in the fine art world, like you are in the luxury market whether you know it or not. Um because you are creating one of objects, right, that only you have produced. So
Mm-hmm.
whether it be $50 or $200,000, like that's a luxury good. There's only one of them. Whether or not it's good or bad, whatever, like that's its own thing. But like
Mm-hmm.
versus say like generating advertising, it's like, hey, I gotta hire this ad expert that is charging me $50 a second. Why would I do that when I can fire up Chat GPT image generator for $20 a month?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so then it's like, where does you know that illustrator or graphic designer fit in? Like, I think that is like the real danger. Is like where there are people that like in the like industry side of things versus the fine art side of things. Like there is like a clear split, and I think a lot of the discourse is set on one side of that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think fine art's gonna be fine.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing that happened to photography when like cell phones are able to catch up in terms of
Yeah,
their quality of output, where
yeah,
people were like, "Oh, I no longer need to have a DSLR with $1,000 lens and all these flashes and all this other stuff. I can just
yeah,
get the same thing on an iPhone. And if my iPhone can't generate the image, well, then I can always just take it and edit it in Photoshop, no
yeah,
problem." And it kind of, in some ways, it did not kill, but it like diminished the um not the popularity, but just like kind of the value of independent photographers. But there's still plenty.
for
Like
sure.
I'm interviewing one
Oh
tomorrow
yeah,
that like specializes
cool.
in photography in New York, and his stuff. It's like, yeah, you can't make that shit with an iPhone. You really can't.
Yeah. Can we take like a 2-second break?
Yeah, yeah, not a problem.
Sick. I'll be right back.
Sure thing. And we're back.
We're back, folks.
But yeah, we were talking about AI art. What do you mean when you say that you haven't really seen any kind of like original output or anything that would give you a wow factor in terms of the capabilities of the current models? Because I mean, most of the applications that I've seen is like
Mhm.
in automation and
Yeah.
making it easier to make apps.
Mhm.
I've seen people with some like incredible, like pretty interesting, like art generation stuff.
Mhm.
But beyond that, like I don't know, nothing. really special. But what did you mean by that when you said it?
Well, like my personal usage of, artificial intelligence on the day to day is like chat GPT, and I use it to organize like my notes that I take on, what I think of painting and drawing, and,
Hmm.
you know, sometimes just ask it funny questions just because that's what you do with it. But a lot of the utility that you can gain out of that stuff, that's why I mentioned like, AI as tool is really cool, but like I don't know, it's like when have you like used a tool that really wowed you? You know what I mean? But like as
Hmm.
far as like the visual generation stuff, like there is cool, you know, novelty items, you know. Um I don't know. It's like it's generated and then it's there. And I'm like, okay. But I also feel that way about a lot of like VR art stuff. I'm like playing a VR installation. I'm like, why like oh, like the player model like doesn't work, or like you don't respect the basic design of like level design, so it's shitty. Like
Mm. It's just 'cause
you
it's
know,
VR, you assume that like it's gonna have a wow factor, but in reality, it's not really all that much.
it's just like another Unity asset built thing, and I'm like, oh, okay. I could be at home playing Halo 3 right now.
I get that. Yeah, yeah. Like
Like I don't know.
the tech is kind of slapped onto it. Like just about every major tech company that's come out, it keeps they just keep like adding AI to whatever the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
Like one of the more famous
Uh,
examples is like it's always about booking travel or like going to a
yeah.
restaurant. And
Yeah.
it keeps hitting the same beat, and you're like, okay, but can we get something fresh?
Yeah. Or it's like oh damn, what was I gonna? Oh, like the metaverse stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You're just trying to recreate MMOs, my man. Like we've been doing that.
Yeah.
NFTs. You ever play Counter-Strike? Bro,
Yeah.
skins have been doing that for years. Like, come on. Oh, AI generated this level. Bro, Minecraft does that.
True. True.
You know what I mean? It's like like am I jaded based on like my game experience? Like I don't know, probably, but like when you say AI, I think of Cortana and Durandal and, you know, non-playable characters, not
Yeah.
image and text generation.
Yeah. Some of the more interesting applications that I've seen in gaming is like there was somebody that took the time to figure out like a chat GPT mod for like Skyrim or
Mhm.
something. So the NPCs actually had um, a more kind of fluid dialogue
Yeah,
choice. And
right.
I don't know for sure, but I think I've seen some footage of games where it's not just like an AI generated level that's like static. So like, oh, it generates it and like that's it. That's all you can
Oh,
do,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you explore within the bounds. But I've seen some where it's generated like as you go throughout the level. So
Yeah, like responds to you.
yeah, it's like constantly evolving. Like I could see that as a more interesting like actual like application of AI because like it's
For sure.
generating in real time. You don't know what it's gonna look like, and it keeps changing at every step.
I've seen that with like with the Minecraft where like every time you turn it's like a different location, or like the Quake 2 thing that came out.
Yes, yes, yeah.
But what I didn't like about that is like say you're in a spot, you look down, you look back up, it's totally different. So it's like, oh, like I put all my shit in the chest and now it's just gone. Like there needs to be like some anchor point,
Hmm.
or like a gate where like once you leave that gate, like the memory will like keep how many of those like chunks that it's generated. Because every time I've seen it's like been nuked to oblivion as soon as you look around. And I'm like, well, in a game where you have to like survive and get items, like I don't know.
Yeah, wouldn't exactly work.
Where does that all go? So as like an experiment, it's cool, but again, it's like I have yet to see it like come together in an interesting way where I'm like, I have to go try that out.
Yeah, it's certainly a long ways away because like most of the applications now, as we said before, it's mostly just centered into the
Mm,
business world. And I mean, the amount of people that I meet on a daily basis that don't like they know of AI and they know of
mhm.
ChatGPT, but it's just the personal adoption just isn't quite there yet because it really
Right.
hasn't it hasn't kind of broken out into the mainstream in a significant way. Like it's really good at grabbing headlines. Like you'll see like, oh, this company
Oh
locked
yeah.
down 6 billion or whatever, or Microsoft is creating a new assistant uh for Windows or what have you. But it's kind of like crypto in that way, where it's like the tech is like, okay, I'm sure this is really impressive, and if you
Mhm.
obsess over it like day and night for weeks on end, you might like be able
Yeah.
to make something really cool. But to the average everyday layperson, it's just like that's unattainable for me, man. I got bills to pay. I got work to go to. Like this
Yeah.
isn't really,
And
it's not grabbing me.
if I wanna mess around and make something, I have stacks of paper and sketchbooks that like I've
Hmm.
been training for the last 10 years to like keep doing. So it's like, I don't know. It's way more accessible to me at least, where like I can just make stuff out of my head.
Hmm.
And I think that's like, pen and paper is the best way to do anything still.
Yeah, personally, I find that it's if I use AI for anything, it's
Mhm.
to like explore certain ideas or to get a cursory view of some topics. Like it's a very
Yeah.
good starting point.
Hmm.
And but from there, like I have to actually branch out and make something of it, make some kind of an original work. It can't just be like a soulless copy paste. Otherwise, it just
Yeah.
you can tell when it's AI generated these days
It
for the
can't
most
it
part.
can't be the start and stop of your idea, you
Hmm.
know. Like you mentioned, like it's a cursory thing where it's like you use it to explore ideas or find common threads, like through your writings or something. More often than not, it's like kind of close to what I'm looking for, but I don't know. I've experimented with like making images and like it's always just a little bit wrong.
It's always the hands. You got to watch for the hands.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Some
funny.
of the more interesting stuff I've seen though, I remember this one group, these two guys, they make I'm sure I could find it if I look it up. But they make music videos of various like politicians or like important people. I hope I can find it here
Mm.
because oh yeah, here it is. They're called the Door Brothers,
Okay.
and I don't know what models they use, but
Mhm.
um, just visually how they like pair it with the music, it is like just really impressive. I never thought that like
Mm.
models could be this good because I rarely see
Yeah.
generations that are like this consistent, but
Mhm.
they hit it out the park with their videos.
So you'll have to look at them.
Yeah, they're having like with Putin, yeah, Zelensky. I mean, they're obviously like fishing for not fishing, but like they're taking advantage of like outrage in the
It's like
political
rooted
sphere.
in like reactionary stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, which again, it's like, okay.
yeah. The theme gets a little bit old because like how many times can you see Trump shirtless before you're like, okay, like I get it.
Once.
Yeah, yeah. I do love that though. The fact that like in a moment's whim, like you get an idea for like a meme or just something funny, and you can just have it
Yeah.
generated for free, and somewhere out there a tree burns down for it. But it was a worthy
Yeah.
sacrifice.
Yeah. Fuck that tree. Missile strike the
Uh,
tree.
yeah. Now I'm interested to see where it goes. I know that
Yeah.
there's a lot of people in the art world that are very upset by it, and I get the sentiment too, because like I remember
Sure.
I on my personal account I got into this discussion with this guy that works for like IP laws and all that, and
Hmm.
he's on the forefront of like fighting against AI, and I was like, dude, your field is
Yeah.
gonna be irrelevant in like 5 years. This whole idea
Yeah,
of
that's
intellectual
the
property, it's not
it's
going to
over.
matter.
No, it's over. It's not gonna matter until you're on the receiving end of it from a big corporation. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like Nintendo or Microsoft knocking at my door. No more Halo paintings.
I'm surprised Nintendo hasn't shut you down yet. I hear that they're actually really, really adamant about any kind of like recreations
Yeah.
of their works and whatnot. Strangely enough, too, like out of all the companies, you would think they would have a more welcoming approach to that.
Oh, hell no. They hate the Smash community. They hate, you know, fan art. They hate their customers. You know. So,
Yeah, they just dropped the Switch 2 for like the tutorial game. It's like
yeah, for
$80 or
12
something.
$1,200,000,000. Yeah.
Yeah, and then for the Mario Kart, it's like $100 or something like that.
Dude, it's like I
What's with
have
that too?
Mario I
Is that just the
I have
marketing
Mario
budget they got to pay for?
64 in the living room that I can go play right now, and, like, you gotta like, I don't know. I think it's just, like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the driving force behind that. I think it's crazy. I mean, I they're they canceled, like, their pre-orders or something like that for the time being, but
Hmm.
I won't be getting one.
Yeah, my guess is that it's the managerial class that takes up so much money in terms of like their salaries and everything, or like the marketing team or what have you. And then that's why all these triple and quadruple A studios have to like just pump out as
Yeah.
much stuff as possible,
I think too,
and
like,
then they just charge out the ass for their games.
Nintendo knows that, like, the diehards are gonna just, like, pay whatever they say, you
Hmm.
know? And, like, I love Nintendo games. That's I had a GameCube growing up, had a Game Boy, had it all, have it all, but, like, you gotta get real at some point where it's like, I don't for a Switch 2, it's how much? My man, how much?
Yeah, it's like close to a K or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Go
And on
buy
the
a
yeah.
PlayStation 2 for $100 and, you know, spend, like, $20 and you'll get, like, the best games for that console. Like, I think retro games and vintage gaming will, like, have a bigger boom in the next few years again, because it's already, like, absurd, but I think it's gonna, like, continue to be, like, a thing.
No, certainly. I genuinely don't remember the last time that I ever touched like a triple or quadruple A game. I mean, I grew up like torrenting and pirating all my stuff. I didn't really have
Right, yeah.
consoles, so PC was all I had. And on the
Yeah.
occasional trip to like the not I don't know, maybe like a thrift shop or something, and I'd find
Mhm.
get a lucky find, and I'd be able to get a game for like $10 or something like that.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was all just like torrenting, so I never
Right.
really. I certainly missed out on I'd come to school and people like, oh, you play new Call of Duty, and I'm like, no man, you guys are
Yeah.
like in Black Ops. I'm playing like Modern Warfare 1 because it was on sale and I just picked it up for $5 or whatever. And even then, like I had more fun than ever. I'm still
Yeah.
sad that the servers have died out, but
Absolute
yeah.
cinema.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I remember when I
Absolute
first
cinema.
played the game at my friend's house. The sheer like the I realize now looking back, if I played it now, the
Mhm.
graphics would not like compare to what's out now. But looking back then, I was like,
No,
man,
games now can't compare. Games now can't compare.
that you know what? That's the right perspective to have.
That's how I feel about it. But
But
it's
the
like,
no, sorry,
yeah.
go ahead.
It's like I feel I used to feel that like emulation and torrenting, like when I was in high school, I was like, why won't you just like you know, just go buy the game in the console? But like now I'm like, fuck it. A whole PlayStation 2 library on my computer.
Yeah, right on. My
Because it's like I'm not gonna pay you $200 for Pokemon Emerald. Like You're
Hell no.
smoking, man. Get out of here. And I think it's super lame because like when I was younger, I was super curious about the previous generation. Because like, sure, I grew up playing Call of Duty, Halo, whatever. But like, I was like put on to like Doom and Deus Ex and Half
Hmm.
Life, and you know, because I was like right after that. I'm gonna be 27 this year, but like I was really interested in the history and the lineage, and like, oh, Wolfenstein was before Doom. Like I thought Doom was like the first one, and then like Quake 3 and Unreal Tournament, and just seeing how it all came down. Like it was still accessible to me too. Like
Hmm.
I could go out and buy and play Pokemon Red and Blue, and um, just see how games evolved through my own eyes through the original hardware. But I don't think it's accessible anymore to like a young curious person in the way that I had it. Like I 100% encourage um, legal emulation.
Yes.
um, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's just going to get more difficult, and they're going to try to crack down on piracy and emulation as hard as they can, which sucks.
Good luck. That's all I got to say
I
on that.
know.
Like, good
Yeah.
luck.
Hey,
Good luck.
hey, I know what side I'm on.
Yeah, you're not taking my ROMs away from me, bro.
No way. I've dumped all the Game Boy games that I've owned. I have a library, so you know, yeah,
Yeah, it's one of the beautiful things about older games is the customization aspect of it. And I meant to
yeah,
bring this up when we were talking about Nintendo, how like on the flip side of their rigid Apple like philosophy when it comes to this
hmm,
stuff of the single ecosystem,
hmm.
you have games like Skyrim, which were among the first to really
God,
take advantage of uh, a passionate community that spent hours upon hours
hmm,
upon hours modifying it, whether it's like a single texture or an entire new
yeah,
storyline. Like there's an art to that kind of stuff as well, especially when it comes to mods. I mean, Counter
for
Strike
sure.
is a mod
The
of Half Life.
the example of mods.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then of course Gary's mod, and then of
Yep.
course, modding Fallout 3, modding New Vegas, modding Skyrim, modding Oblivion. Like it's so essential to like the success of games. And then like in a personal note, Halo Custom Edition, like
Hmm.
that was huge for me. Um I don't play a lot of mods on my games because I'm kind of like a purist at heart. But like I love like Brutal Doom, or what's the other one? It's like Asher's whatever the heck. It's like a post-apocalyptic Doom mod, but like it's a full game. I love seeing that. I love experiencing it. And like you said, like it is an art form, and it should be encouraged, not discouraged. Because like I'd go to Smash tournaments, and there's people that are like, "Oh, I have a modded Switch. Like, don't update it because it'll like crash like all the mods I've downloaded."
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, holy shit, like that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, parts of that community have also like kind of been co-opted by like big sites like Nexus Mods. They're very
Yeah.
they in some ways they have very strict criteria in terms of like what can and
Mhm,
can't be uploaded. But I mean, there's always going to be a place for people that like they see a niche or something that they just
mhm.
the original game doesn't satisfy, so they take it upon
Right.
themselves to do it. It's much more difficult to do it with new games with like how they lock everything down, especially anything to do with like online play.
Yeah.
Um, but with older
Oh
games,
my
there's
god.
always going to be room for it.
Yeah. I mean, like, GZ Doom is like its own art form at this point. I've played so many like or like conversions and custom full games just from GZ Doom. Um, and like you mentioned, like online gaming has like hindered a lot of modding, and I think I love esports, but I dislike the direction that the ecosystem has taken to like make the whole game about that. You know what I mean?
About online playing, you mean?
Like online play and hyper competitive and always ranked play, always skill based matchmaking. Like I love super competitive games, don't get me wrong, but like you still need like a team deathmatch server or like a custom browser where you can like go mess around and experience cool shit. Like I don't know, I feel like there was a big turning point where like games were specifically made to be esports and it was like, "Oh my god, here we go. Here we go."
Everything's an esport now. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I
So,
know what you mean. Yeah, it just the commercialization aspect of it took over, and there was a new avenue for revenue and exposure.
yeah.
So, a lot of companies naturally gravitated towards it, and I certainly share your sentiment there because, like, I play Rocket League as one of my main games with my best
Mhm.
friend, and we're not that
Sick.
high in rank. We're like diamond, low diamond to high plat, which is like
Yeah.
just above average. Um, but even then, like, dude, we get like 4 or 5 games in on a Friday night,
Mhm.
and with just like the skill that we're meeting in the game, we're like, okay, well, this isn't fun anymore. Like, we're not gonna bother.
No.
Like why am I sitting here getting frustrated? You know, there's maybe a
Yeah.
time in my life where I didn't want to go into esports, but I was like competitive with it, and I like
Yeah.
grinded League of Legends for fucking years.
Oh
Um,
my god.
and I loved it, and hated it, but that's a whole
That's the
other.
general that's
Yeah,
the general sentiment. I
it was
never
a
got
yeah,
into
yeah,
that because I was like, "Oh my god, look what it's doing to my friends. Oh my god. They're
yep.
turning into monsters."
It's an abusive relationship for sure.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
with yourself, and you have nobody but to blame yourself. Yeah.
I'm not built for, like, toil like that.
No. And the thing is, I remember I read a post that like perfectly encapsulated. They were like, the problem with League is that when you lose, you feel like roping yourself, but
Yeah.
when you win, it's like, okay,
You
whatever.
don't
On
feel
to
anything. Yeah.
yeah, on to the next one. It's not like satisfactory enough.
Hell no. No game that I've played, like, seriously had that, like, that loop, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
sure, like, I've lost, Smash tournaments or Halo matches and like, "Oh my god, like, it's over," but then, like, I'll go back and, like, completely crush the next time, and I'm like, "Nah, like, never had a doubt."
Never. Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Like as a result, like I've shifted from like competitive gaming and more into just enjoying the moment, having fun with friends, and that's been a lot more rewarding,
Mhm.
I'd say. And so like instead of that,
Oh, for
grinding
sure.
Rocket League, we'll play. You ever play Chivalry?
Yeah, yeah, Chivalry's tight.
Yeah, they had a second one
Chivalry's sick.
that came out, and I love how like I don't know, not for its realism, but just because there's no rank. It's kind of goofy because
Yeah.
you don't have to use the weapons. Like if you find like a chicken on the ground, you can just like pick it up and throw it at
You can
people.
cheese out random kills
Yep,
like the spear, you're going over a guy.
yep, yeah. And there's still like the combat aspect to it, which like keeps
Yeah,
it competitive because you got to be on your toes. But it
yeah,
has like enough of those funny elements to it that you're like, okay, this is fun. Even though we lose, like it's still a fun
yeah.
time.
I've excuse me, I've pivoted towards, like back towards, like, single player experiences recently where I'm like,
Mm,
I need a break from, like, grinding all the time because like, I am, you know excuse me, like, I work during the week, and then I paint at night, and then I paint on the weekends, like, I have 2 full-time jobs, essentially,
hmm.
and I don't have time to, like, grind out, you know, matchups or tech or stuff like that like I used
Prestige.
to, but, like yeah, like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna dude, I don't have time to grind skins on college, like, no way, man. So I'm like, I'm happy with being good at the games that I'm good at. I'm gonna go back and play Metal Gear. I'm gonna go back and play Fallout. I'm gonna go back and And I've bought like a lot of new games that like I didn't have that I've heard great things about. Like I'm playing Ape Escape for the first time. Super sick, you know? So my gaming time is more like it's not like a full-time job like it was when I was like super into Smash and stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, there's something to be said for like going back to some kind of semblance of simplicity.
Mhm.
Um, like I'll play the occasional like Marvel Rivals match, but like three
Mhm.
four matches in, it's just the atmosphere is so toxic. Where I'm just like, Jesus Christ, I need to. I'll play Minesweeper at this point, man. I'll play
Yeah,
the
yeah.
fucking the pinball game. Okay,
Yeah.
like I'd rather just play that instead of
You're
whatever the
firing
hell
up
this is.
you're firing up DOSBox at this point.
Hell yeah, yeah. We'll go on the
Yeah.
Oregon Trail.
Oh my god. That's so funny. Yeah, I mean, like, it's not toxicity is one thing, but it's like games that have like a loop that like drive you insane. I have to stay away from it. Have to stay away from it.
Yeah, it just kind of it loses its charm because I remember
Yeah.
like when I was really into Counter Strike Go when I was in university.
Rest in
um
peace. We lost
RIP.
a good game. We lost a great game.
I agree. I would still find myself like finding or trying to look like for a Counter Strike source servers where like they have gun game or
Oh
escape or
my
zombie or whatever, and I just
oh my
remember all
god.
those lobbies where like they built like the custom zombie level to the like where you can hide and there's like a hallway that's very
Mhm.
tight so they have to crouch through it and you just spam your gun
Dude.
down a hall. Yeah, that
Oh
was
my
that was the
god.
greatest.
It's simple stuff like that is like the reason why like I love games because it's like it's so dumb, but it's so fun, and your friends are all laughing, and you're having a good time.
Yeah, there's always somebody
You know,
that has
I
like the helicopter mic or like the yelling
yeah.
background as it like in some kind of a land cafe in Brazil or
Someone's
whatever.
someone's vacuuming. You're just like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god, man, the dog barking."
Somebody's like blaring music through their thing. Yeah.
It's so awesome. I'll take that over being top frag any day of the week. Any day of the week.
Yeah, I've
It's so
noticed
much
that
fun.
with a lot of new games, they're I guess for the sake of commercialization and trying to keep it open to as many people as possible, they've
Mhm.
gotten really, really, really restrictive in terms of like I remember you used to be able to just upload a photo to Counter Strike and
Yeah.
that's your spray, and you could spray it
Oh my
however many
god.
times you want,
I
anywhere
used to
on the
see
map.
vile
Oh
things in
yeah,
Counter-Strike.
yeah,
It's like, "That's illegal, my man. You can't you
yeah,
can't be showing that."
yeah. And you're forced to look at it. It's just there.
Yeah, it's like you lose and it's like right there on your face. You're like, "Oh
Yeah.
my I'm 9."
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
like, I get it. Hey, I customized my emblem in Black Ops 2. It wasn't absurd, but, like, come on. We used to do that shit. I lived through the Modern Warfare 2 online parties. I've had everything shouted at me, which I
Oh yeah.
don't when I talk about that era of games, people are like, "Oh, like, remember?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like, that wasn't good. That wasn't a good thing." But, like
Yeah, just death threats. Like the moment you open your mic, you don't even say a word.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
that's I don't think that's a good thing. Like but, like, shutting off any opportunity to talk to someone, I think that's far worse, but I don't know. Like, in Halo Infinite, like, you join a match, you're there with the lobby, and the game ends, and there's no, like, post-game lobby. So, like, if you're talking to someone, it's like, "Alright, see you, man, forever." Like,
Hmm.
you can't make a friend. If someone was, like, talking shit, mute their ass in the lobby. Like, you have agency. Like, I don't they
Yeah.
just said that marathon, there won't be proximity chat. You know how funny proximity chat is?
Oh, it's the best. It's the
It's
best.
the best. You can't prevent, people being crazy online, but again, like, you kinda lose the ability to meet someone cool. I don't know. I don't know.
No, it's true. It's true. It feels like a lot of the games that are coming out now, they're just very sanitized, made to like the experience is very strictly catered by the designers, and there's not really a
Yeah.
lot of room for people to kind of explore and just kind of push boundaries and see what happens. Because as you said,
It's
like
like
everyone has agency, they can mute them. It's like it's no big deal.
yeah. I again, like, I don't remember negative voice chat fondly, and I'm, like, very active on the mute button, but, like, there's something that's kinda lost, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, on the flip
It's
side, it also like it leaves room for any developer, anybody that wants to make something of their own, to just be like, screw it, we're going back to the old days, we're winding it back, and we're gonna let our players, have full reign of customization and whatnot.
mhm,
I don't know of any of
for
those
better,
off the
for
top of
worse.
my head, but yeah, I'm sure there's people that are working on that kind of stuff right now.
Yeah, I mean, you can just go play Quake, go back to play Quake 3 Arena.
Oh yeah.
Fire up tribes. I don't know.
Uh,
I love multiplayer and online gaming, and, like, that's largely the content of, like, what I paint, for good reason, because it's what connected me to, like I said, like, my friends and
mm-hmm.
the world, and, like, I met a lot of cool people online, and, like, I wonder what is happening now to, like, younger people experiencing gamings this way, you know? Um,
Yeah, because it certainly like it does shape uh the audience in a lot of ways if they don't really get to if they don't get to have a hand in how the game is made or how it functions, whether it's modding or voice chat or what have you. It kind of takes the agency from people in a way, but like the only other outlet that they leave you with is through like the loot boxes and whatnot. Like, okay, sure, you
oh
can
my
be
god.
whatever you want, so long as whatever you want is what we
So long
make,
as you give
and
me $20.
yeah, and so long as you can afford it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that I wanna do I haven't thought of, like, the subject matter yet, but I wanna do something that is kind of like a critique of loot boxes and skins and stuff like that. Like, I love hey, I love customizing my characters, don't get me wrong, but, like, that shouldn't be the start and stop of your game.
Yeah, like the freemium model came and now it's just been dominated
It's the
by
standard.
everything,
It's
and
the standard.
it's almost incestuous how some of these games work because like I was playing Rocket League the other day and I saw that I saw an ad before logging in for like Fortnite skins for like Adventure Time or something, and then I go into Rocket League and they're also having the same event because both the games are owned by Epic, and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
you guys just like you're fully
you got
integrating
the
everything
deal.
into
Yeah.
everything.
I hate seeing behind the curtain like that. Like, you can just tell, you're just like, "Oh my god, man. Like, I don't wanna do this." I love Adventure Time. I'm not gonna go buy the skin, though. Come on, man. It
Yeah,
doesn't I love again, like, kind of, like, harkening back to what I was saying about, like, I don't usually play, like, a lot of mods in my games. It's usually, like, quality of life, bug fixes, and stuff like that. Like, I love when a game has, like, a complete vision, like, artistically, and you can, like, feel that, and the texture is there, and, in the case of, like, people complaining about Call of Duty skins, or it's like, "Oh, like, this one isn't realistic to war," and, this Fortnite character or whatever, I'm like, "Oh my god." But, like, I like specific games because of their art and the world and the consistency. Like, I want, like, a complete package.
Hmm.
I don't want like, oh, this thing from this thing and this thing from that. Like I don't that doesn't
References, yeah.
interest me. Yeah. And like, I reference paintings and I reference video games in my paintings, but it's like when I go to play a game, I want it to be this singular vision, you know, instead of like, oh, Back to the Future is in Halo 3. And it's like, I don't, God, dude, get out of here, man. I don't want to be reminded of something else when I'm playing a game.
Yeah, the game that came to mind when you said you want to have like a complete vision and have
Mm.
some kind of artistic intention walk you through it or kind of immerse you in a world is a Donkey Kong Country that I've started playing with my with my niece there because
Sweet.
Nintendo had they had an SNES Mini that came out,
Hmm.
and I found out that
Oh,
you can
yeah.
actually mod it and load
I'm well aware.
custom ROMs on it.
Yeah.
So loaded up a bunch of Donkey Kong Country stuff and playing the
Sick.
game. It's obviously graphics are like simple and whatnot, but that's not why you play the game. But
Hmm.
the score, the feel of it, the
Hmm.
just the whole vision of it. I don't remember like ever having so much fun playing like a simple game because I've mostly grew up on like the online gaming space and rarely played single player here and there. But then
Yeah.
playing this kind of simple platformer, I was like, oh man, this is really fun. I'm digging it. This is actually pretty cool.
That's what I say when like me and my friend Chris joke. It's like I'm playing a video game. Like
Yeah.
it feel it's just you start it. I'm Donkey Kong. You know, great soundtrack. It's like the 3D renders that were turned into sprites. Like
Hmm.
I am playing a video game, and that's all that matters right now. It's so simple.
Yeah. It's perfect. You know exactly like
Yeah.
how the other controls work. That you jump on the
Hmm.
bad guys to kill them. There's no need for like
Hmm.
some backstory or references to any other games and whatnot. Like you can just drop
Yeah.
into it not knowing anything about Donkey Kong and just have a great time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's special. I think that's really special. Especially because like you said, like you're playing with your niece. I think like that's the strength of games like that like transcend time. Whereas like
Hmm.
the live service games, it's like, oh well, I had this battle pass 3 years ago, so I got this item. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, 15 years from now, all the servers are off, and oh, whoops, you can't play that game. But I have good memories of it.
Yeah. Yeah, or like how I think it was Ubisoft that made the move to the point where like they outright stated that people that buy the games on their service don't actually own them and that they could be
Right.
removed from their inventory at any given time.
For
Which is
any
like,
reason, yeah.
bro, I remember when I used to like get cereal and there was a CD in there that would give me the demo and that's it. I owned that demo and I
Yeah,
could play it as many times as I
yeah,
want. Like, what the hell is this? This is
right.
ridiculous.
It's so funny. It's so funny. Yeah, magazines coming with demos and stuff. Oops.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I wanna do, I don't know how I would do it again, but, like, kind of like a shareware version of paintings at some point where, like, it's released either through disk or, not floppy disk, but, like, some other, like, transportation media where, like,
Hmm.
whole series is only viewable through this demo in this shareware version. Whether that's like a game or um, just like a slideshow or something. I don't know yet, but it's something I've thought about doing to kind of like harken back to like those free discs that you would get.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea because is if so long as there's no digital copy of it that you upload yourself and you only release it through the
Mhm.
discs, it's like it's a digital media inside of a physical media. I mean, it's basically like if a photographer was selling SD cards instead of their
Yeah,
photography.
yeah. So I don't know. It's like that's the kind of stuff that I really love about that specific time period of games.
Yeah, you should look into like making it onto a cassette or something.
Something something unexpected where it's like kind of an inconvenience to get access to, but like, figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Or even like I guess could even do like even like a cartridge. But I don't even know how you'd go about that.
It's not too hard. It'd be cool. You get like third party empty like Game Boy cartridges or something and use the ROM dumper and just put it on there.
Yeah, you could even go as far as to like make like an actual like a physical like game case and have like how they used to come with the flip book. You could have
Yeah,
like previews of the pieces
little
in there or
manual.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. Have a artist statement or something.
That'd be wicked. Yeah, that's actually a
Yeah.
really cool idea for some physical art.
Yeah, that's like the not like end goal, but like that's like the next step, so to speak, is like how do I then, like paintings exist, but they're on the wall, but then how do I like filter them and have them have this like metamorphosis where they turn into like this other analog thing where you have to like experience it yourself.
You know what you could do? You could I don't know if this is possible, but I know that the Game Boy used to have a printer attachment.
Hmm.
You could do like I don't know if it would work with I don't know how it would work with like cartridges or whatever, but you could bake it so that like the Game Boy would print out the painting, and that's the only way that you could see it. It would probably be like low
That'd be
res as
cool.
shit, but still.
Oh yeah, I have one somewhere, but like you can still get like the tape and stuff. Oh, that would be kind of sick actually. The main thing would be like menu interface and then have it pull. Yeah, never mind. I could do it.
And even like and you could do it in a way so that it's like the it wouldn't just be like a single printout of like a small like however big the tape is. You could do it in like
Mhm.
pieces. So like this one will paint like 40 pieces, and you got to cut them out and arrange them and like make it
Oh yeah,
yourself
like
actually.
arrange.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
oh, that'd be cool. Mm,
Interesting.
mm, but
Yeah,
yeah.
there's something to that because I remember like whenever I'd get a game, the first thing I'd do is like look through the flip book and see all the different like concept art,
Oh, for sure.
instructions and whatnot. There was like that bit of lore to it just kind of added to the joy of playing it. Because nowadays, like the lore is like in the cutscenes or
Yeah.
in the hour-long tutorial that you have to do at the beginning of every game, and it
Right.
doesn't feel as
Or audio logs or whatever
yeah,
the hell. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel as immersive as like actually like seeing the thing in your hands.
Yeah, and like I reference those, and like I have a scanner, so like I scan to get like the highest possible quality, like micro images of the games, and I pull from like guidebooks and stuff like that because there's a lot of like stuff that isn't in the final games that are within those
Hmm.
like containers, so to speak. Um, that like it's an image that's literally like this big, but if I blow it up and paint that, like that's super interesting. Like I did a painting of Snake from Metal Gear 2, I
Hmm.
think, but it was like a early version where you had like a different gun, and there was only one person that was like, "Hey, wait a minute, like that's from like the beta or whatever," and I'm like, ah.
Is it this one?
Let me see. Is the one where he's got the FAMAS or whatever?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's that one. Yeah, that was a good one. It's a big painting too, but again, it was like the smallest corner of a magazine photo, and I was like, oh, like that would be cool because it's a good pose too.
Yeah, I that actually when you mentioned that magazine idea, I remember whenever I'd go to like grocery shopping with my mom, first thing I'd do is just make for the magazine section and get the game mags out, whatever it was. Like,
Yeah.
I think it was, I don't remember if it was Gamer Power or Power Gamer. Nintendo also had one.
It was like
Um,
Electronic Power magazine or something like that.
yeah, PC Mag as well.
Yeah.
And I just remember like some of the ads were like really outrageous
Oh
compared
yeah.
to like game ads these days. And then that also reminded me of how you may or may not remember how like the box art for GPUs used to have just like
Yeah.
the absolute like whacked out like LSD trip craziest
Yep.
graphics you've ever
Yep.
seen. And then you open it up, you're like,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
this is just a piece of hardware. Like I nothing
Yeah. Oh, it's
impressive
just
about
a
it, but the
Voodoo 2.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like that that too, like the product and advertisement side of it where it's these insane renders. Like I have folders and folders of scans and um archive images of that where I just sometimes I pull it in and use like the poses or just stare at it to try to make sense of it.
Yeah, they were wild.
I have a vintage Nvidia t-shirt where it has like a 3D render of like a mermaid on the back and it says drench your senses. Like that's oh man, that's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
One of the
piece of
best.
memorabilia right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's
like
like,
uh, old ads like this, they just had some soul in them.
yeah, crazy. Oh my god. Is that the Ultimate Warrior?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my god. What was there was one hmm, I can't remember the name. Hmm. Oh, I have it somewhere, but
I didn't realize Adam Sandler's Little Nicky had a game. What the hell?
oh yeah. Yeah, yeah.
What
Cult
the
classic.
hell?
No, I don't know.
That's wild.
Yeah, but it is like how I see it, like when I draw upon um like the advertising and the marketing, it's like this I don't want to say anti-capitalist, but it is like inherently like the reverse side of it where it's like you take something that's meant to sell you something and turn it into fine art. It's like it completely like nullifies the meaning of that, but it also
Mm-hmm.
like is like an incredible like counterplay to um like it's like anti-consumerist versus anything new that is like trying to come out. You know what I mean? At least that's how I see it.
Yeah, it's it highlights something that seems to be of like forgotten or just left by the
Mm.
wayside. Um, which it's interesting to see this style pop up more and more because you're not the first artist that I've seen that like kind of try to capture this style. Um, but it makes sense because now like people that grew up on this stuff like you and me in our late 20s, um, there's this kind of not rejection but more like just embracing something that existed in this kind of spirit that existed pre 2010s,
Yeah.
that just doesn't seem to be as important or like considered anymore. And it's not to say that that spirit doesn't exist in the creative outlets, whether it's gaming or design or art. It just seems that it's transformed in a way where it's it's hard to kind of have the same passion or admiration for this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
as it was like back then. It just seems like the turnover rate is so quick on all these creative ventures that it's it doesn't give you enough time to actually like invest, hours and hours into it. Like there's still people playing CS 1.6, but
Oh
nobody's
yeah,
playing like the latest, I don't know, FIFA from 2 years ago or what have you.
yeah.
It just
But it's
there's
like
a recycling machine of it.
I I am not like as for Counter Strike as an example. Like I'm not good at it, but I'm obsessed with the history of it and the legacy of it, and kind of like the lineage of the players and the different um, meta games between each release. Like Source is wildly different compared to 1.6,
Oh
as
yeah.
is Go to 2. But like I love like just because there's a new version of the game doesn't mean that the old version immediately is like rejected. There's still like meta games that have been developed for like decades that you could easily jump into and just start learning. And I think that's a cool again kind of like anti-consumerist notion, not to like frame all of that as like what that is, but like for me, sometimes new games are cool, but like what interests me is like the depth of mechanics. Like, I love the original Quake. I love Quake 3. Those are games that still feel really good to play, and there's
Hmm.
so much skill to gain. Um, and that's true of like Counter Strike or, in my personal case, Halo. Like I'm deeply obsessed with like the competitive side of Halo 3, and like I review, you know, YouTube videos of like hidden tech from like 12 years ago all the time to like get better at the game. And I think that's a good path to take if the current field of gaming doesn't interest you. Like you can pick up the original Doom and play some multiplayer and learn really quick that there are some people that are really good at that game.
Yeah, still to this day.
So it's like I think it is again like anti-consumerist, but it's also like people still pick up chess and master it to this day, and they're still like referencing games that happened 200 years ago or whatever. Like that's crazy. I think it is a cool and kind of like, I don't know if cyberpunk is the right thing, but it's to have entertainment from something that's like not trying to constantly shout at you to buy something
Hmm.
is it shouldn't be unreasonable to ask for that,
Yeah,
in
and
my
I mean,
opinion.
a lot of people, at least I find like the sentiment in a lot of these communities is that there's more and more people kind of turning to that approach, whether it's enjoying movies or anything. Like the Marvel was really hot for a moment up until like
Oh
Endgame,
my
and then
god, we had
ever
like
since,
15 years of that, man.
yeah. And then ever since then, like after everyone saw like, okay, finally, like we jumped the shark on this one. And
Hmm.
ever since then, like their projects, like, yeah, they still get views and whatnot, but people are like, okay, we understand your formula, we know what the play is, but
Yeah.
it's just not, it's not entertaining. Like at this point, it's like it feels completionist to
Hmm.
watch their stuff because you're like, okay, I'm not even watching it because it's
I enjoy it.
yeah, it's more just like I just want to know like, oh, like how did Marvel like do this with this character or what have you. Like it just feels like you're trying to
Yeah,
rack
yeah.
up achievements instead of
That's
like
funny.
enjoying the process. That's what it feels like to me
Yeah.
anyways.
That's really funny. I haven't thought of it like that.
Yeah.
I'm
Like
achievement the MCU.
yeah, like I grew up like, reading comics and I loved Spider-Man, the original Raimi trilogy.
Oh yeah,
Um I was like,
of course.
big Marvel fan, but now I'm like I don't even
The original
know.
X-Men series. Oh my,
Oh yeah.
the movies though, those are
I'm
crazy.
still I'm still I'm still a little depressed about how Spider-Man 3 turned out, but that's okay. The first two are good enough.
Yeah. Damn.
But yeah, no, it just like that's what it feels like with the amount of stuff that they're just like pumping out. It's like I
Mm.
can't I can't be bothered, man. I haven't even seen like the last 4 or 5 or like whatever movies. Like I'm over it, man.
It's a
I don't really
full-time
care.
job, and you're just like, I can I go experience art for once? Like, like why are there no good movies? Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're out there. It's just
Oh
they
yeah,
don't hit the
yeah,
mainstream. There's like I love the
yeah.
fact that like indie studios like A24 have come into the forefront and
Mhm.
they're getting a lot more attention, or just people that are putting up movies on like YouTube. Like the one of my
Yeah.
favorite videos I've seen, and I'm not even into this world at all, but like Warhammer 40K, there have been a couple
Oh my
people
god.
that have made
Yes.
really, really, really outstanding shorts that are like 20 minutes long or something that are
Mhm.
like so well done. You would swear it's like the sneak peek to a movie they're making. But no, it's just some
Mhm.
like fucking cracked out guy in his basement, playing around in
Yeah,
Blender until he gets it right.
it's so cool. Yeah, and that kind of circles back around to like the like lone hobbyist or tinkerer or like modder, like the outskirts is where like all the cool stuff happens. And even if like,
Hmm.
in the art world it's like, ooh, the avant-garde and outsider artists, but like those are like the real outsider artists that like dedicate their lives to, producing a Warhammer fan film. Like that's so awesome.
Hmm.
And like
Absolutely.
it just I don't know, there's I don't know, it's so cool. I love that stuff.
Yeah, or people just like working on mods for like a game that hasn't been updated in like decades, but they're just doing it
Yeah.
because it's a passion project of theirs.
Oh yeah.
On another note, I see your Half Life painting there. Do you think we're ever going to get a Half Life 3?
If we do get it, you wouldn't want to play it. I
You think so?
promise
Why
you.
is that?
Look at the gaming landscape, dude.
But Valve's been like their creative directors, like whoever's in charge of their development, like they're doing really well. Apparently,
Sure.
the Alex VR game was actually quite good.
Haven't touched it. I wouldn't know. It probably, hey, I mean, it's probably good, but like I lost hope a long time ago, and I think that's fine. I'm fine with that.
Fair enough. I do remember
I'm fine.
that the script for the end, I don't think it's ever been fully confirmed, but
Yeah.
it leaked out into the web, and I remember reading it and I was like, oh, that's a pretty satisfying end. I really would have liked to have enjoyed that.
Yeah, I think I read the same um leaked script or game structure, whatever the heck it was. But
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is like obviously a meme, 10,000 years in the making. But there's no way it could live up to what it could have been.
I actually just remembered there is uh there is a company, an indie dev studio that is making Half-Life 3 based on that script. I can't believe this just hit me now.
Whoa.
I'm gonna see if I can find them because this project has been, I think, close to a decade in efforts.
Mhm.
Um, Let me see if I can find it. But yeah, there was this one studio that is actually working on. I think it's called Borealis.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the ship,
Yeah,
I think.
Project Borealis. So this studio right here,
Cool.
they've been working on it. I mean, looks like their last. So okay, so 5 months ago they had their update. I think they built an engine off of Source, but they customized it enough that it's not really Source at all, and it's kind of their own thing. But they have a lot of updates and videos that they post of how they're making it, and it looks like they want to
Cool.
actually finish the tail of it. So far, I haven't heard anything from like Valve
Mhm.
trying to cancel it or whatever. So I mean, so far so good.
Yeah. Hey, I want to tap into that again. That sounds cool. And like, of course, my cynicism towards any mention of Half-Life 3 based on the current gaming landscape. I don't think there's no good I don't think that there haven't been any interesting games that have come out recently because I think they're all the ones that are good are like indie developed more so than like a AAA title. I mean, like I had fun with Space Marine 2, but like, more of the same. I was big fan of Cruelty Squad and um Arctic Eggs, and that was a crazy game. Let
Hmm.
me see what I got in my Steam library real quick. Straft. If you haven't played Straft, oh my god, so much fun.
Haven't heard of it, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, it's just like 1v1 wacky multiplayer game. Balatro, of course.
Balatro, yeah.
Let's see what else we got. I have like a full library of cool stuff. 500 caliber contracts. Like there's so many just like talented smaller scale games that move and feel like a video game, and that's a tall order in my opinion these days. Um,
Vampire Survivors is up there for me. I don't know if you've played that.
oh yeah, yeah, that was a fun one. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm not totally shut off to new games. Like there's a huge wish list of mine that like I mentioned it before. Like I'm in like the fainting room Discord as like an observer, and they're all crazy awesome um, developers that are just doing their own thing.
Mm.
You know, so if you don't know about any of them, hey, you gotta check them out.
Yeah, it's easier than ever to kind of get into that space. Like I love how I'm sure you've heard of him, video game donkey from YouTube.
Of course.
Yeah. I love that. I love that he's progressed from doing like reviews of games and like commentary, and now
Hmm.
he actually has his own studio where he's crafting games based on this
Yeah.
vision of just making good games that are playable and fun for people. And now like the games are on every platform, including
Hmm.
Switch, and it's been great to see his journey like that, and I'm glad that there's somebody that's kind of fighting for that original spirit because you can tell that he cares, that he genuinely
Yeah.
cares about making good stuff just for the sake of it.
And we need more of that. I think like a good, honest, again, like complete vision of a game or a vision of like what games you want to see and like fun. Like I think that's really cool and kind of noble in a way because it's like before it would be like producers finding indie film creators that would you know develop this whole body of incredible like indie filmmakers, but now it's like we need that for games, and I think that's an awesome thing, so thank you, Donkey.
Big shout out to Donkey.
Yeah, the man. And of course all the people that make the games. That's what it's
Yeah,
all about.
we just want to have fun at the end of the day. We just want to have fun, see
I just
some
want to have
cool
fun.
shit.
Play 3 verses.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm not totally shut off to new games. I am looking forward to that new marathon though. I know a lot of people are disappointed,
That's by
but
Bungie, right?
oh yeah.
They just had a new trailer
Oh
drop
yeah.
today, I think.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've closest like analog to it I've played is Escape from Tarkov, with my
Yeah.
friend here and there. But even then, I found the same kind of issue with competitive gaming where like you're up against streamers or people trying to make a name for themselves, and like
Yeah.
because they're
It's so extreme.
yeah, this avenue towards esports has opened up and streaming has opened up, that now there's people that can monetize their skills, so they min max
Mhm.
it. Meanwhile, like I get home from a shift, I just want to have a couple good raids and have fun, but I'm gonna get one tapped from a fucking kilometer away and not even know what hit me, or just
Yeah.
get ran down. And so as a result of it, they created a PVE mode so that now like no PvP, If you want to load in with a friend, sure, but otherwise it's all bots, so you actually get to like play and enjoy the game. And the bots are difficult
Mhm.
enough to the point where it's like, okay, this is still like an ordeal, but at least
Yeah,
now I don't have to worry about hackers or what have you. I'm interested to see if
yeah.
Bungie does the same thing with Marathon or if it's just going to be all PvP.
I think it is just gonna be PvP. I don't know. They might have like confirmed that it wasn't PvE or something like that. But
Mm.
if you haven't played the original Marathon, I recommend you go back and play that. Super fun.
Oh, there's an original one?
Oh, there's a, oh yeah, there's an original one. Oh yeah, you got to pull up classic Marathon one time.
Oh, 1994. Interesting.
This is before Halo. This is. I don't want to say anything. It's just so good.
Okay, so it's like
Mm. It's like a Doom clone,
yeah,
but
yeah.
a little bit more sci-fi. I kind of describe it as like a novel almost, like the characters and the atmosphere and stuff. I don't know. It's a good time.
Interesting.
It's a good time. I did a
Yeah,
painting of one of it at some point.
I'm excited to see what they do with the new one.
Mhm.
Because I love how the art style it reminds me a lot of the artistic direction behind the first Mirror's Edge game.
Oh,
Um,
for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I
that
see
kind
that.
of clean, crisp vibrance where the colors really pop at you, but it's not like overwhelming neon. Everything
Mhm.
is very like smooth. There's not really a lot of roughness to textures.
Yeah. A lot of my graphic design friends are really stoked on it.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like a feast for the eyes. Honestly, just the trailers
Yeah.
alone. And I know those are like they spend obviously a lot like more time into them because they're trying to get people to buy in. But
Mhm.
even so, like the game's gonna be pretty close to that.
Yeah. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah,
Damn.
I'm interested to try VR. I haven't really like done much in that space. I think I've tried a headset like here and there, but
Mhm.
I know that like right now it's used for a lot of like social spaces. People will go into like VR chat, and what have you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it's less so of like actual like games, and it's more so of like those like social spaces.
Yeah, it is interesting that like when you take out the like game qualities and reduce, gaming to just social social meetups essentially, it's like I mean I had the like the like movie theater servers on Gary's Mod where you just go in and
Yeah,
like throw
yeah.
popcorn at each other. Like that's funny. That's
With
awesome.
with Inception playing on.
Yeah, yeah. You pull up any YouTube video you want. It's like I love the like there is like a pureness to like just having an online space where you can just mess around. And I think videos where people mess with like the people that take it seriously are super funny.
Oh yeah, like if they're like if people are like e-dating or whatever, and like
Yeah, yeah,
you get into
yeah.
Knuckles coming
Yeah.
up to them and spitting on them.
You're like you're like a crazy looking player model. Like I
Yeah,
think that push and pull is just so fun, and I don't know, that's the art to that game or that type of space.
yeah.
You walked through me. I have what is it where they have like the phantom syndrome where it feels like you're being walked through.
Oh yeah, if they have like the full bodysuit, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's so funny, dude. Oh my god. Damn. Yeah, I need to do more of that.
I would be interested to see if there's gonna be any kind of development into like AR gaming, because really
Mm,
the only one that I know of that was like famous was like Pokemon Go, and even then it's like it's
mm.
AR in the sense like you scan the location, but you're not like actively walking around the world with a headset or something like that. I wonder if anything
Yeah.
would pop up from that, because like Apple has their headset.
Mhm.
Meta has some glasses that they made, and there's a couple of companies operating in that space right now. But it would be cool to see how that works.
Yeah, just make it the worst possible outcome for reality. You just like have like AI covering everything shitty around you with like Reddit stuff.
Or like everything is on an unskippable ad every screen you look
Yeah,
at.
yeah. It's just like, oh my god, like, that'd be so funny. That'd be so crazy. I know, like there was like a small push of um like AR fashion stuff where it
Oh
like
yeah.
attaches to your body, but like it was clipping through your arms and stuff. Like
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't think we're there yet, but it is like I don't know. Like when I'm outside, I don't want to be gaming. I mean, I do, but like
Yeah, I get what you mean.
it's
Keep them separate.
there has to be like there's got to be a limit somewhere. You got to moderate somehow. I don't want I don't want every second of my life to be a screen. Like I love going outside and touching grass, as they say.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's a scary thought.
No, it is certainly a good concern to have because the thing is, people have kind of forgotten about this, but when Pokemon Go initially came out, there were a
Mhm.
couple of scandals where they purposefully set up like the Pokestops that you had to go to at certain businesses and
Yeah,
bars to drive traffic. Now,
yeah.
that's one thing. The other news story you may or may not have heard of, I think it came out in the last year or two, is that the company that made Pokemon Go
Hmm.
actually has made several AR games, and they have now transitioned to a company that is selling spatial data so that
Yeah.
all those photos that people have taken of all those places they've been are
Hmm.
essentially being used as scans that they now
Right.
sell to whichever company wants to use that data, which is actually really useful for training robots because now you don't need to send them out in the real world. When you have all this visual data, you can just simply program
Right.
into them.
Yeah, I think that is like I think that's malicious. Deep down, I don't. I mean, I love Pokemon Go. I played it a lot. Um, Good memories attached to it, but I think you kind of like underhanding it to serve as like this almost military operation is not cool. You know, I
Yeah, it
don't know what to do about that.
kind of takes it and twists it in a way that wasn't expecting. Kind of how like
Hmm.
people, you know, I guess this example works of how like people sign up for 23andMe thinking, oh, okay, whatever, cool. Like I get to learn something about myself. And then now you
Yeah,
realize, oh, the company's gone bankrupt. Oh, they have to sell off their assets. Oh, there's like millions and
yeah.
millions and millions of
I'm the asset. Oh
DNA
my
records,
god.
and your
Yeah.
genes are just floating out there for anyone to buy.
I think yeah, like that's insane. It's just your DNA is now subject to being purchased, and like I think now as consumers, we have to be more like we have to see through kind of the whimsy of what these people are presenting us with as like a thing to a toy essentially or a novelty item where it's like, oh,
Hmm.
you get to go catch Pokemon, and oh, in the case of 23andMe, oh, like figure out your DNA ancestry. Oh, you might have this disease, whatever, but like
Hmm.
I think the inherent fun or benefit from a technology like that, I think we just need to think about it more. And I think it's I don't know. It's not that I'm like jaded about that stuff, but it's just like, at what point does it stop? Are we gonna get like brain scans and fill your brain with Pokemon? Yeah. Oh, and by the way, we scanned your brain and we cloned you.
Yeah, or like you want a discount on skins? Let us put ads in your dreams.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. So like as soon as you close your eyes, it's like that YouTube beep beep beep.
Yeah. Whopper, Whopper, Whopper,
Yeah,
Whopper.
dude. Like at what point? It's like when is it enough? You gotta like draw the line. You gotta unplug. And I think like the next generation, just based off of like the people that I know that are younger than you or I, like they're totally checking out of the internet, which I think is really cool. Um, because it has done so much damage, and like they're either like totally checking out or going all the way in.
Mhm,
Like
mhm.
there's no like casual usage of the internet anymore. For that generation, I feel it's either like try hard or nothing. Um, but that kind of gives me hope. Like kids going outside and riding bikes. Like that's what I did too. Like I didn't just play games. Like I rode BMX and skateboarded. You got to be well rounded.
No, certainly, and yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. I do see that kind of weird dichotomy split, whether it's either all or nothing in some ways. Which, I mean, it's totally understandable. Like I grew up for almost half of my life without a digital footprint, without
Yeah,
social
yeah,
media or anything like that, and it's it's certainly done me a lot of favors in a lot of ways compared to like some of the kids that I see now. Like if I'll go to a restaurant or something and
oh my,
parents just
dude,
like
it's
whip out
crazy.
whip out an iPad and whatnot, and
Unknowingly doing so much damage.
yeah, it's especially with the kind of content available these days. Like I find myself whenever the topic of like me wanting to start a family comes up, I
Mhm.
kind of return to this idea of like, okay, well, we're all conditioned in some way, shape, or form, and now more than ever, it's never been as important to consider like what kind of conditioning you're letting into your personal life, whether it's the media you
Yeah,
consume, the food, the relationships you have, whatnot, because almost everything is attached to an algorithm, and
yeah,
if you're not selective about it, then you're letting some person in a basement somewhere getting paid 200K to research what type of hummus you'd like, or
yeah,
what have you, like just
yeah, yeah,
pinpointing and targeting you in every single percentile. That I've now started to like curate a list of media that I would want my kids to see, or like a list of games that I would want them to play, and I would be very
yeah,
selective with how I'd like kind of release that, slowly dripping faucet into their
yeah.
lives.
I don't think that's unreasonable either, too. Like, um, it is dangerous what you can unknowingly consume. I mean, like, you know, I remember going over to my friend's house and he was like, "Look at this Call of Duty mission," and it was No Russian, where
Yep.
you commit a mass murder. And like, I was young, so I was like, I didn't understand the gravity of that mission, and like, I constantly reflect on that as like, was that the right story beat? It is incredibly controversial. It is um, like borderline like propaganda in a lot of ways, but like
Hmm.
I respect it because it was so bold and so controversial, but at the same time, it's like putting a young person in that seat is like crazy. So like I think it's not unreasonable to not completely disown controversial um uh levels or scenes or stuff like that in video games, but like have a critical eye and just be like, what was that? Like why did that have to happen in this video game? You know? And like there is a lot of talks and complaints of like, oh, games were never political. Why are there, they're enforcing DEI in games now, and it's like, bro, you're lost. Yeah. It's like, wow, I love non-political games like Fallout and BioShock. It's like, dude, so
Yeah.
you are, dude. So I think it's like intentional anti-intellectualism of games is like ridiculous. And of any media, it's like, why is everything got to be political? And it's like, well, it's not. I think it's like a framing method in which you can critique the media you consume. You don't have to just like passively absorb something, you know.
Yeah, I think it's not necessarily like the maybe some games are like they have that kind of axe to grind, so they want to have that kind of messaging. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I
yeah.
I think it speaks more so to like just how everything seems to be a lot more polarized these days. I mean, I
Yeah.
get exhausted scrolling Twitter sometimes because I'm just like, geez, like not everything has to be a take, man. Like you don't it doesn't you don't have
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
like in tech circles I find it like people are so adamant about like whether it's coding languages or like what
Mhm.
have you, new AI releases new news. Like the game to get the Elon bucks is so important that they're like, look, if you do this, you're an absolute fucking idiot. And dude, it's just an opinion, man. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be so polarized. It's not the end of the world. Like you can just like not consume that content or not consume that media. Nobody's like
It's that
forcing you to
simple.
watch it.
It's
Yeah.
that simple.
There's plenty of movies that
Yeah.
came out in the 90s and the 80s and the 70s and even the late 1800s that you can watch. Like you don't have to
Mhm.
consume the latest greatest thing. It's fine. So like it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not worth stressing over.
Sit this one out, man. Like, it's fine. It's okay. It's okay. So
Or just
I
like
don't know.
wait for the reviews to come in. You know, see some gameplay on YouTube and be like, okay, and I know what this game is and I'm just not interested. And not
Yeah.
like you don't have to be the first like to buy. You know, it's
Or
okay.
heaven forbid you think of something yourself.
Yeah. More importantly.
Yeah. God forbid. That's what I think of, like, I don't know. There's so much negativity online, and it's I've been on the receiving end of it. People call my painting shit or trash, whatever. I'm like, there's nothing you can say that I haven't already said about my own work.
Number one, yeah, like you realize you're talking to an artist, right? Like
Yeah,
do you understand how like our minds work? Like do you
yeah,
do you even have a fraction of understanding?
yeah. But it's like any sort of I don't know. It's a constant stream of takes, like you said, like, and it's just I don't know. It's too crazy.
Yeah,
And
I
like
mean, yeah.
when people come to me where they're like, "What do you think of this?" and I'm like, "I think this," but also I'm a guy that paints video games, so like take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
you know,
It's
not to
probably
like
yeah.
get rid of any agency, but like you know, realistic expectation.
Yeah. It's probably something to do with like just how the medium operates, like just the fact like
Mhm.
likes and retweets and all that, it maximizes for whatever's gonna get the most engagement. Like that's why the most popular accounts
Mhm.
on Twitter are all these like either clickbait farming or like cute animal videos or fight
Yeah.
compilations or war footage or whatever. It's just it
Oh my god.
maximizes for
Yeah.
whatever is gonna get the most engagement, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that is like the best thing. And
No.
thankfully, I've
I
yeah,
yeah. I try to
as
stay as far away from that as possible because it's like
hmm
I don't want to compromise what I want to do with the medium and what direction I want to take. I don't want to compromise that for you know some quick and easy interaction. Like I don't. Sure, my subject matter is and often will be cited as like nostalgia driven stuff, but like that's not the start and stop of what I do. Like I
hmm
like to take it a step further and really think critically about the why and the how and where it fits in the grand scheme of the art history canon and where that will take me. It's not just like here's Blood Gulch today. It's like, okay, well, like, you know what was the inspiration behind that map? Why did they make it inspired by this location? How can I honor the history of that, you know, painting school that is in that same location, or how can I subvert that? Like it
Mhm.
is ultimately just like, you know, video game painting, but there's so much more under the hood, you know.
Yeah, there's something to be said about curating your approach to either enjoying art or
Mm.
making it yourself, that you can't just simply get it by trying to like play to whatever the meta is in whatever field it is.
Yeah,
Like
it's never. Yeah.
just as a side example, this is a project called Token.tv. It's made by this developer I found on Twitter.
Hmm.
He got tired of like seeing all this slop on his timeline. He's like, screw it. Instead of complaining, I'm actually going to do something about it. So he
Cool.
created, uh, I guess, like a review based model for uploading videos. So you would go on YouTube, find a video, um, and you get to, I think, post like one or two a day on your profile.
Hmm.
And the whole point is that you get 3 tokens a day, so you can vote which video you liked best. And the whole idea is to get like really unique and creative stuff that isn't just on the trending line, things that are like, indie creators with like 200 videos or 200 views, maybe 1,000 views, very like
Oh
slight
yeah, yeah, yeah.
oddball
Cool.
stuff. And there's
Yeah.
videos of like in every category, and people just get to like vote. So now you actually have people paying into the process in a way, because you only get 3 tokens a day. So you choose what you want to see more of. And the
Yeah.
whole point is to maximize for uniqueness and, just getting that kind of novelty out of it.
Yeah. Instead of it just like falling into your lap or whatever.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's cool. I like that. That's cool. I have to check that out too.
Yeah. I find there is more and more attention being paid to that kind of stuff, like people that are
Hmm.
working on tools, or just openly just discussing the fact that, like, look, if you don't curate your timeline will curate you. And
Yeah.
if you're not careful, that's like a slippery slope to, I don't know, whether it's adopting ideas that are not your own but are popular,
Hmm.
or just kind of wasting your time with whatever's current. And it's not
Yeah.
nearly as rewarding as, like, as you said, with your painting process, is like actually going into depth and trying to understand the layers
Hmm.
hidden in the subtext in that.
Yeah. And it's like in that case of like algorithmically receiving images, in the case of like fine art, it's like I'll see stuff that like in my feed and I know it crosses someone else's feed and they paint that and I'm like, oh man, like it's over, man. Like it's one thing to paint memes, but like or I'll see like the same like reference image across like a few different things and I'm like, oh man, like we gotta figure something out.
Yeah.
you know, because I
It's a
like to take as many of my own reference photos as possible. In the case of like referencing like a YouTube video, like that's not the case, but like more often than not, I'm taking my own reference photos
yeah.
just to
The
have that agency against like the algorithm feeding me something just because it knows that I like game images and that I bookmark them for inspiration. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah, yeah.
being conscious of that cycle and like having counterplay to that, I think is cool.
It's necessary. I
Hmm.
didn't realize how important it was up until like a couple of years ago, when like I decided to like do a complete cleanse. Like, I had to turn off my YouTube recommendations, like my watch history.
Yeah.
So it's only stuff that I subscribe to. On
Hmm.
Twitter, I'm very liberal with like either the block or the report, or like just the dislike button.
Good.
Um, because otherwise, like, if I let my timeline slip, it's just gonna become the worst uncharitable takes, and like
Hmm.
just stupid shit that I really don't want to see. And I know it's not good for me, because then I'm like, I either get outraged by it, or like I share it to a friend and then it spreads to
Right.
him, and then it affects his algorithm, and it's just
And you're
this.
the the plague spreader all of a sudden.
Yeah, yeah, the super spreader.
Yeah, and
Um,
it's like it's good to do that, and I think it's like it was frowned upon for a while, where it's like people would announce they're taking breaks, and people are like, "Oh, get a load of this person," you know. But it's like I think there is like a spiritual cleansing within where you're like, okay, like I'm mad all the time when I'm
mhm.
online, so like how can I refresh that and become one, like a whole person again, because you do kind of fragment yourself across different social media platforms, and it's good to have an a return, not an escape, but a return to IRL. You know, even me, even the ghost in the machine. I love getting offline. I have my limits.
No, it's necessary. Like it's absolutely necessary. Like most of my work for Outsider Supply tends to be
Mhm.
digital, but like if I get an opportunity to go to a gallery and see firsthand some like original
Mhm.
works, I do my best to make the effort to actually go and then see if I can speak to the artist or whomever. Or
Yeah.
we had this festival every year in Toronto, where I'm currently stationed in Canada,
Mhm.
where for a night from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. there's art exhibitions all over the city
Cool.
in like really weird spots. Like I remember one year somebody created like some kind of a it's like some kind of mariachi band or something inside of it like a big
What?
dumpster, and there were people lined up like around the block just to like open the lid and like see what's in it, and there's just all sorts of
That's cool.
installations like that across the city. Um,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's been kind of commercialized, but there's still quite a few independent artists that are making
Mhm.
their thing, and like you can't compare sitting like watching on a screen or even like the best VR setup
No.
to just going out there and like seeing the art for yourself. Even if it's shit art, it's like, okay, well, at least I went to see it. At least I know what it is.
Yeah, and you have like, I've been to stuff that I didn't like at all, but like I still actively engage. Where I'm like, okay, I try to find something that I really like about the work, no matter what. I'm just like,
Hmm.
okay, this color usage or the sound design was really good, like no matter what. So there's like an active viewing experience that happens when you go and see stuff. At least for me, I always try to go out and find new artists or experiences or installations. Like that was really a heavy thing in college for me. It was like people always had something going on, and I always tried to go and see it. And I encourage any and all artists to go do the same if you don't already. Like, go find something, go out and meet other crazy artists because they're out there, and like maybe you'll make a cool art friend, and you can talk and send each other cool um, works in progress or something, and like it just expands your horizon. You know?
Yeah, in a way like nothing else really can.
Yeah,
And then when you just get
and
into
like
the rhythm
even
of it, you now you have to be like careful about how you curate that, because like you don't want to just like show up to the museum with a new exhibition. Sometimes you want to go and like just see like a small 20
Mhm.
capacity gallery in somebody's basement or what have you.
Yeah, and that's often where the coolest stuff is, or the most head scratching stuff. Where you're just like, I didn't think I would enjoy that, but hey, I loved it.
Yeah.
And like often in my experience, like when someone commissions me or they buy an original work from me, they're like overwhelmed with how much better the original work is in person versus online. And like I take really good photos of my work, but it doesn't ever communicate how good they are in person. You know?
No, certainly. Yeah. I find that like I used to do photography for a little bit, and I had
Mhm.
some film that I developed, and like even though like I used a really high quality scanner,
Mhm.
it's not nearly the same as like actually holding it in your hands
Right.
and just seeing it there in person. There's just something about the grain or what have you that just makes it that much more special.
Yeah, there's the texture, and then there's kind of like I don't know, you get like the aura or the spirit of the thing when you're
Hmm.
physically next to it, you know.
Yeah, especially if it's
There's
a one
always
of
that
one.
like, oh yeah, there's always that like, I talk about this with like my art friends or like people that I mentor. I'm like, you can never be 100% like a master of something. There will always be the 20% that is like on the other side, so to speak. Like it's, even if you're working your best, you'll always be like just 80% there. Whereas like the
Hmm.
20% that is like the unspoken mystery void that when you are working so efficiently and so masterfully, it will, fuse into whatever it is you're doing and people will feel it.
Yeah, that taking that kind of approach would really take a lot of stress off
Hmm.
somebody. Like the not being resistant to the act of creation, even if it's shit. Like I find that
Yeah.
that's most useful with writing because sometimes like I'll be in the middle of an idea and
Hmm.
the words that I want to use are stupid and like I know I have like a good idea but just the way the structure
Yeah.
fits I'm just like you fucking idiot, like you went to university, you should be able to write something better than this garbage, what the fuck. But then like
Right.
if I just get it out there, if I just get it on the page, I'm like, all right, I can rewrite, it's fine.
Yeah.
Every first draft is shit. I'm sure Shakespeare was shit initially and then eventually, you know.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, to any artist of any skill level, just starting or master, like I follow like the waves of, you know, the world or whatever, where it's like some days I show up and I'm the worst painter in the world and I just have to roll with it. You know, maybe
Hmm.
that day I'm cleaning brushes instead of painting. But showing up and doing the work, taking it seriously no matter what, like you always have something to do in the studio or, a sketch you could be doing or an idea that you've thought of, but like just taking it as it comes, like I said, you'll have really, really good days and you'll have rough days and that's okay. And you just have to learn how to like read that energy level for the day and just go from there. Cause like
Hmm.
I try to show up every day I can, you know?
Yeah, and before you know it, you're live streaming on an Outsider Supply podcast.
Yeah. Just like that.
That's right.
It's just that easy. But just show up.
Right on. Well, hey, we're reaching the 3 hour mark, and that's as good a place
Sweet.
to end as any. Is there
Yeah.
anything else you wanted to mention before we sign off?
Um, we have a new, not we, Super Potion Labs. They have a zine coming out. I'm part of it. Check it out. It should be coming out in the next few days. Follow me on all the social media platforms. You know, all that stuff. Thanks for the time. I appreciate it. Good
Yeah,
talk.
and thank you for taking the time. I
Yeah.
ever since I saw the Halo pieces that you've made, I was like, oh, this is fucking interesting because I don't really see
Thank you.
a lot of video game art through this kind of perspective. Like I'll see like OCs and like
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
mods or like game footage that like people change, but in terms of like actual like art that feels like art that takes it and
Hmm.
turns it into something different, it's you're by far like one of the more unique people doing this.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, it is like, sorry to keep more time, but like
No, no.
it is like that balance of like the fine versus fan art. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
like it's like a razor thin line, and I'm always writing it. But
No,
I'm
you're
glad
doing
it
good so
like
far. Yeah.
translates.
Yeah, no, big fan, and I love that you're doing the New Vegas as a new series because out of all my Fallout's, that's by far my favorite.
Of course. Yeah, I might do like a limited postcard release of those too. So keep your eyes out.
Hell yeah, hell yeah, yeah, man. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming on.
Likewise. Likewise.
If anyone wants to find you, it's at ArtistRyker on Twitter. Got all the socials there.
Same
Uh,
thing on Instagram.
Beautiful. I hope you get more commissions, man. Good luck with your show in BC. Hope it
Thank
sells
you.
out.
Me too. No, but I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
No worries. But yeah, it's been a good night. Thanks for everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you later.
See ya.